Hey campers, real quick before this episode start, I'm a bad junior counselor. I forgot to hit record on our video switcher that shows some of the gameplay footage and us around the campfire chatting with each other until about an hour into this 3-hour episode, I think. So there's probably just going to be gameplay footage running randomly in the background for the first hour or so of audio. Then you'll see it click on. That's it. Enjoy.
This is delightful. I'm so glad we came here. Feel those vibrations at Camp Video Games. Howdy campers, welcome to Camp Video Games. This is Junior Counselor Sean, and this guy over here is Junior Counselor Josh.
Hello. Welcome to Camp Video Games. The woods are a little damp from nights of rain, so if you lost your boot and you're walking around shoeless, covered in sticky mud and algae
And thorns, and now you got some moss growing on you.
Yeah, your foot's all infected. Sorry about your luck. We ran out of commissary. What keeps you healthy? First aid supplies? I don't know. We're out. Point is, we're out.
We had to lay off the nurse here at Camp Video Games. Mm-hmm. He wasn't very good at being a job. Haha, because you thought I was going to say a nurse was a lady.
Yeah, that's right. Also, camp counselor Michael Mayonnaise he drinks the rubbing alcohol.
He doesn't even know that he's drinking alcohol. It's really sad.
Yeah.
He's like this one bus driver I just read about.
He doesn't even enjoy it.
It's just like, I don't know. I don't know if he has a sense of taste. But he drinks rubbing alcohol, and he thinks he's doing mouthwash.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He's got problems. Anyway, Star Fox 64 is the reason we're all here today. Why don't you tell them about what we do and to get us going?
Wow. So here at Camp Video Games, we like to talk about video games and their multitude of adaptations to the screen and to books and to I guess really just those.
Yeah.
And in previous episodes, we discussed A Fox in Space, which is the phenomenal fan-made animation based on Star Fox. And we already covered the original premiere on Super Nintendo, and here we are talking about Star Fox 64, the good one.
Yeah, the only actually good one.
And so let's just take a minute, an hour to go back and think about Star Fox 64, the Nintendo 64's best game featuring furry pilots. And there's something to be said about a game that can blatantly rip off Star Wars and
Star Fox.
Wait. I'm talking about a game called Star Fox.
This one's 64.
Oh, you got me. You got me. Right. Guys, campers, homies, Star Fox 64 is really just a updated Star Fox for the Super Nintendo. It's story-wise, it is copy and pasted with a lot added.
Yeah. No, Shigeru Miyamoto himself considers it kind of just a remake.
Yeah.
One of the first, I guess, remakes maybe that ever came out before this craze where everything was just a remake.
Junior Counselor Josh, you and I both have older sisters, and we're the youngest of the brood. And that means that they finally got it right with us.
Yeah.
And that's Star Fox 64. They had to have the rough draft, and that's my older sister. And then and now this perfect game, Star Fox 64, the one people still talk about today. Actually, I love my sister, and she's a lot smarter than me, and I am better at video games than her, though. So there's that.
Fair trade.
Yeah. While I'm thinking about it, had a little birthday a couple weeks ago, and Junior Counselor Josh and I treated ourselves to a multiplayer game of Star Fox.
Yeah.
And I don't want to brag, but I won. And there's no denying that I am just, better on that day.
I'm blaming drunkenness. Michael Mayonnaise forced me to drink the rubbing alcohol with him that morning. That's all I have to speak on that issue.
Oh,
okay?
I didn't realize it was such a touchy subject. Okay, Star Fox 64. Let's just talk about like what it is Nintendo's first game to utilize the Rumble Pack feature, which was like, groundbreaking technology as far as I was concerned.
Well, it literally was.
It was
first one.
ground shaking technology. Rumble Pack was included with retail sales of the game, right? I'm fairly certain that's where I got my Rumble Pack, was from buying Star Fox 64. And now that's just like, that's never going away in terms of like home consoles.
Yeah, I don't recall if it was a matter of me like just being a late adopter to Nintendo 64. If I had a console pack that came with Star Fox 64 and the Rumble Pack, or if my parents got me that for Christmas with the N64. But that was my Christmas of, if this came out in 97, either 97 or 98.
Right.
I'm assuming 97. I think it was a fresh game when I got it. And boy, howdy, is that Rumble Pack fun. So it was really interesting to like reflect on the fact that the standard feature that I'm like almost don't even notice at this point.
Yeah.
You know, as I was replaying this, and it's built into my 8-bit Do Ultimate wireless controller and all that. And that Christmas morning or whatever, I remember playing it, and my dad. It was like, this is the only video game my dad ever like mentally tuned into.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he would actually like play multiplayer with us sometimes.
That rocks.
And like learned it enough that he could like be semi-competitive, you know? And like, if you know my dad, that is wild. That is just not a thing. But I remember him like seeing like my whole arm shaking from the Rumble Pack and be like, that's so wild.
I knew a girl who used to masturbate with the Rumble Pack.
Go on.
She told me about this. So we were in high school at the time, and it was. I was like, this is effective flirting if this is what you're trying to do here. Like wires are crossing, and
good God, I would have been like, marry me now at age 14.
Man. It was not meant to be. But yeah, so if you've got any, if you have carnal knowledge of a Rumble Pack, why don't you be sure to subscribe to our Patreon, where there's not going to be any Rumble Pack masturbation footage, but there is commentary of all of the episodes of the Legend of Zelda cartoon series. There's going to be full gameplay footage with zero masturbation from Josh. Sorry.
Lots of mental masturbation.
And I think that's I'm done talking about self-pleasuring
and plugging. But I don't know, where do we want to start on Star Fox 64? I will note I still have my original player's guide.
Oh, that's so cool.
Was mailed to my childhood home address from Redmond, Washington.
Go ahead and dox your childhood home.
I almost did that on stream, actually. I held it up to prove that I had it mailed to me, and then I was like, oh wait, let's cover this part.
So they just sent that book in the mail.
Mm-hmm. It was probably cellophane wrapped.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
But yeah, it showed up just like the Nintendo Power magazine. I likely, because my relationship with video games growing up, I maybe mentioned on the show before, was like, my parents were very nice about keeping me semi up to date on my Nintendo consoles.
Yeah.
Is like I'd get them like a year after my friends who had bigger families got them, who had like older brothers who were like, maybe they'd pitch in whatever. But I'd get like maybe a game for Christmas and one for my birthday 3 months later, and a Nintendo Power subscription.
Yeah,
which
that
was
rocks.
like so game changing for me. And Nintendo Power would have like every issue you'd get like 2 stamps that like were points towards products.
Oh, okay.
And my guess is I got this as like either I got this with stamps from Nintendo Power, or it was just like a bundle, and I got it for Christmas with the game and the N64. Like when my parents went to Toys R Us or whatever, it was like, here's the bundle for your N64 for Christmas or something.
That rocks.
No, because it got mailed to me, so it had to be through Nintendo Power. Yeah.
I like that Nintendo is doing the same basic thing that like Marlboro cigarettes was doing, where it's like, yeah, you like send in
exactly
your
the same
box tops and you get the sweet merch.
It's 100% the same model. I also had the only other thing I got besides a player's guide or two was these like cardboard holders for all my issues that had like a Nintendo Power sticker on the side.
Oh, sick.
Those have been since demolished, but I rescued all my issues from my parents' basement recently, and this was in there. So I was very excited. So we're going to like follow its level order as we just kind of review each level for a couple minutes. But also there's a fantastic production interview with Miyamoto at the end.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we went through that a little bit the other night.
If you want to hear the whole thing, I just read it on stream.
Yeah. If you want to hear that, go to patreon.com/campvideogames, and we've got all of the gameplay footage that Junior Counselor Josh has recorded of the whatever games that we're talking about at the time.
If I'm get unlazy, maybe I'll just cut that section out and make it its own standalone video.
You know what, buddy? Maybe I'll do it as a little gift for you.
A little sweat equity. Whatever that word means. But noting that Miyamoto interview, I might refer to it a couple times on the Rumble Pack. It's interesting. He just has a few comments on it, and what was interesting is how thoughtful they were about when to use it.
Interesting.
That like something they did that is like, obviously you would do this because they wanted to make it feel like you're there, right? He talks about how like some like test players were confused that like if you fly close to something it rumbles a little, and like when you think about just physics or whatever in general, it's like that makes sense that you'd have more vibration when whatever you're like close to something where the sound of your ship is vibrating right back to you. Yeah,
we mentioned that in the discussion of the Super Nintendo game, how the sound design is fantastic in the original, and they even make it a point of including that sound effect. So that the fact that they compounded that with the rumble shows a lot of thoughtfulness and consistency.
It's exactly what I was getting at. It's like the same. It's attention to literally the same detail. Yeah, and I think he says they pulled it back a little bit because of that feedback, and because it was the first time anybody had done this in a proper way. I mean, I bet people like dabbled with it or maybe like big arcade machines before this, but this was the first like popular home console game with full vibration function.
That was an interesting interview with Miyamoto, just to see how one of the top minds of the company is planning to implement this new technology. It just got kind of weird when he said what you could do with it behind closed doors after hours. The Rumble Pack, that seemed a little out of color for the rest of that interview.
Yeah, a lot of hazing going on with the Rumble Pack for young junior staffers at Nintendo of Japan.
Maybe we could get a transfer to Nintendo. We'll be junior counselors at Camp Nintendo.
Well, let's dive in and maybe spend just like a minute or two talking about the training, because I don't know if you started with the training.
Maybe since you've got your fancy guidebook in front of you, I've got one burning question. Who the fuck is that bear talking to me while I'm going through training? Who the fuck's that bear?
I don't think. There is a relationship guide in the player's guide.
Oh, cool. It's like Final Fantasy VII, where you can be like, you can go on a date with Tifa or Aerith or Barrett or Yuffie.
Yeah, no, actually they did this exact same thing in Final Fantasy 16, which just came out this summer. It's like this big, it's actually it's like basically a relationship tree, and it grows as you play the game. And I'm like, Star Fox did it in print in 1997.
That rocks. That totally. I just saw from looking at it from across the fire here. There's the little Andros section. There's just like one link to Andrew, his nephew. Is that his name, Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew Oikani.
What is that about? We'll get to it, I guess. I guess we'll get to that. But yeah, it's just funny that they're like, yeah, even the bad guys got family.
Yeah, to answer your initial question, though, that little badger bear guy,
yeah,
not in here. Just some guy. Just some guy.
He looks like the mascot from Five Nights at Freddy's. Just kind of like that, like wide-eyed animatronic,
the sort of chaotic vibe.
Yeah. So, I guess what this game does, like I always like to kind of talk about the experience of like, okay, I got the game, I put it into my Nintendo 64, I clicked it on, and the intro, it's all black screen, and it says Star Fox in N64, and it's just like, wait, what? Like 1997 Nintendo presents Star Fox in N64. It's just like, oh, yeah. Well, it's more like, I'm sorry, not to be like the guy. It should be on N64,
right?
But who am I to say?
With this nice little lens flare,
it's fun. It's like
I've never noticed that until now.
Yeah, and
that's hilarious.
It cuts into the first word spoken.
And if we keep applying the in, okay, he's in the Great Fox because that's the next thing we see.
Right. Yeah, the Great Fox. Okay, so the Great Fox is a new ship that was not really featured in the Super Nintendo game, if I'm remembering correctly.
No, it's not.
The Great Fox rips. It is such a cool ship design in terms of like being like. Because like what's a parallel? Because it's not like the Millennium Falcon, where it's like that's like more of like a cruiser, where it's like this is more of like a
Mon Calamari cruiser.
Thank you. Yes, dude. I just I need to get.
Let me borrow your Rumble Pack to make that pull. I had a before Star Wars sucked. Probably around the same time, 97, 98.
That's when the special editions were coming out.
Yeah, the special editions were coming out, and it was probably released with it. There was a Star Wars technical journal.
Yes, yeah, I remember
they
that.
made these sort of cross sections of the ships and all this like lore that I just would pore over every night.
I literally wanted to become an author because of that stuff. I was like, if I could just write about Star Wars stuff, like that, I changed my trajectory later. But it's just, we get this great intro of the characters where it's like, you know, Rob 64 opens up communications, and then like Rob 64, he's another edition from the Super Nintendo. It's
he's similar to like the Rob NES robot, that's right. Peripheral from the NES era.
Rob 64 is like, I mean, it seems like I think we talked a little bit about him in the Fox in Space episode, where he's just kind of like their C-3PO. He tends to speak pretty objectively and just like mission based. But let's talk about this training. The training is pretty sweet. It's a lot more. It's a lot more fun.
God, I immediately the second it started, I was like, "This is 1,000 times better than the original Star Fox."
Yeah, I guess that could be really like the thesis of this entire conversation, is that like everything we have to say about Star Fox 64 is an improvement on what was introduced on the Super Nintendo. The way that this training kind of differs from the Super Nintendo training is that this is it seems to be more of like a guided like sandbox environment more than it is like you're supposed to like stay in formation or try to keep up with the other team members, because it's just Fox talking with some unnamed bear thing. Yeah, and his eyes are just like
cool, man.
He's like
disagree. A raccoon, bear, badger.
Oh, is he a tanuki?
Oh, he might be. But whatever he is, he's pretty cute. He's got his hat askew. I was like, I wish that guy had been on my journey with me.
He's got these like dead eyes, though. I don't know,
just dead, staring forward with nothing behind them.
Yeah. So this one, it gives you the option to just do kind of like an endless combat at the end after you've done some basic maneuvers, and it teaches you the control scheme. What kind of bothers me, as I specify we're playing this primarily on the Switch Online for the N64. So the button layout is wildly different from what I remember playing on the N64. And even actually when Josh and I were playing multiplayer against each other, we played one round on Switch and then we switched to the N64, and that's when I started winning.
Yeah, it's very fair. I hate the N64 layout. I tried to. I think it was that day. I tried to order their like Bluetooth wireless N64 controller for this platform because I was like, I hate this control layout so much. On my first stream playthrough, I play this. So anybody like watching the video on YouTube when we're using clips, some of this is from an emulator, and I had a much better button layout than it's just they use the left Z button is the Z trigger.
Yeah,
and then it's but then the R trigger, the smaller one, is the tilt right. So your tilt right and left are like different layers of the trigger, but it's so weird.
It's very it takes some getting used to put it politely. But at the end of my several hour playthrough of Star Fox 64
I thought you were going to say
Switch.
just the training.
Yeah, no, I
spent a while in the training.
But no, like after I'd played through a bit, I felt pretty comfortable, and it felt a little bit more intuitive. But yeah, I really one of my chief criticisms of specifically N64 titles on Switch Online is that the button layout does not correspond to like common sense. I actually even I was spreading the good word of Camp Video Games when I was at the hospital a little bit ago. I had some back issues, and I was talking to a physician's assistant.
Just forcing bedridden people to listen to us.
And the physician's assistant who was seeing to me, she mentioned that she was stuck on the last level of Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, interesting.
On Switch Online because I've never played very much of that one, more than like maybe like a half hour or so of that type of game. But she said that at the last boss, which is a witch, she was having difficulty beating it because she didn't have the C button layout the way it should be, and it just well, did I mention those Bluetooth controllers were sold out? Is the reason I didn't get one. Oh, shucks.
Yeah, so you're screwed.
Well, I guess other people feel exactly the same as that woman who didn't really help me with my back issue. I ended up just as a quick side note, guys, like if you got some back pain, like see a chiropractor before you go to the doctor. This might not be good advice, especially in like a lot of severe cases. So don't take this as actual advice. But in my case, I was able to literally fix my back pain by doing some stretches with a stick, and they didn't do anything to help me. Enough about me. So the ways that Star Fox 64 improves on the Super Nintendo and I think the best improvement, if we're going to ignore just gameplay itself, is that the characterization is really dialed in with all of the players here. Let's go through the roster real quick of the members of Star Fox. We've got Fox McCloud, peppy hair,
solid, best man,
Falco Lombardi,
piece of shit,
and Slippy Toad,
absolutely the best adorable boy. I would defend him with my life.
I've come to love Falco more and more in this game because I feel like I understand where he's coming from to some degree, and that's only thanks
just
to the
Rivali
context.
1.0.
I'd say I came to this playthrough with a different set of eyes after having watched the first 2 episodes of A Fox in Space.
Now that you know his dad is Falco Soprano.
Yes. Literally just like, because I mean, they always like say that, bullies are people who have been bullied or they come from a rough family life. And I wouldn't say that Falco's an outright bully on Fox's team. I would say he's like a hothead. He's a bit of an ingrate, and he's like, a meathead varsity football player. Yeah. But okay.
Well, I don't think he ever had the makings of a varsity athlete. If you ask me.
But what I think we talked about this when you did your final recording session for the playthrough. Every once in a while, Falco will give you a compliment, and
Yeah.
he
seems resentful from the ones I can recall.
It's just like, I mean, if you do the hard level on Corneria, where you go through the pagodas and you follow him, he says, "Pretty smooth flying, Fox." And I'm like getting chills thinking about just getting one compliment from this guy who's been so rude.
But there's
to
still
me.
tonally, there's a touch of vinegar behind it.
Yeah. Well, it's how a little bit of salt makes every other flavor pop, right? He's salty. Okay,
yeah.
let's just okay. The intro cinematics to Star Fox 64 rocks, right? Like we talked a little bit about it, where it starts with Star Fox in N64, and then Rob he calls the team to make sure that Pepper's got a clear line through. General Pepper, he's the ultimate. I don't know if he's actually a good boy, but he's portrayed as the good boy here.
Yeah.
He's a military top brass bloodhound, and that when Fox and the team answer the call, because Corneria is being invaded by Andros, and they need your help. We get this amazing hero run of all of the characters running down the hangar corridor of Great Fox to go to their R wings, and this is in 1997, this was the most a game had ever offered in terms of here's the hero. I don't know, just because of the slick graphics for this time, the voice acting, which was still pretty rare, and the whole package is just it's just a little bow on top, and it's no wrinkles.
Yeah, this is a detail where I might want to actually read Miyamoto's answers, because I think it speaks for a lot of the compliments I have for the game.
Yeah.
So if you'll indulge me for just a second.
Josh, I'll indulge you for hours, buddy.
So Nintendo Power asked him, at the Tokyo Game Show, you talked about how Star Fox 64 is a movie-like game. Could you explain more about this? Miyamoto says, I don't have the exact answer to this. For 10 years, people have talked about interactive movies, mainly people in the film industry. Game developers have also tried to make interactive movies, but they usually turn out more movie-like than game-like. It seems a lot of game people seem to think that movies are superior for some reason, but we don't think that at all. Still, we think that we can borrow good ideas from the movies, like dramatic camera movements and the use of real-time voices. In Star Fox 64, we found that the overall experience gave us a fuller movie-like feeling. So,
yeah, it's got that.
I had already been saying on stream, before I read this, that a lot of the opening cutscenes of the levels, which are just the right length, they're never overly verbose. They never outstay their welcome.
Yeah.
But it's the first time that I can think of especially now that we're in the 3D rendering era, of thoughtfulness about camera placement in terms of what does it say about the dramatic tension of this moment, this shot. And I can maybe bring up some details when we go through the levels, but there's a lot of this really nice stuff that I'm this is what Michael Bay would do, and then this is I think even precedes Metal Gear Solid, which is when that really gets solidified as
oh, yeah.
Wow, you can do this in games.
Hideo Kojima is I think he's a movie fan more than he's a video game fan.
Yeah.
And with if you've played more than 10 seconds of any of his games, you can make 100 film references from just every single frame.
Mm-hmm. And then I won't read it, but he also in one of these questions talks about the voice acting, and how there were maybe concerns about it indeed becoming too verbose or being kind of too much. And it he talks about how it's it was kind of a blessing and a curse that the staff working on Star Fox weren't really familiar with RPGs where there's storytelling, so they didn't overdo it, so that when he came and saw what they did with the voices, he was yeah, that's just enough.
Huh, interesting. I guess it should be said that
and they had the limitations of the
storage.
The storage
Yeah.
of a Nintendo 64 cartridge.
It has to be said, A+ voice acting in this game.
I think it's great.
Really
Yeah.
memorable performances from everybody. There's no particular, lines that like rub me the wrong way. It's all pretty. I mean, the localization was really good. Is there like Japanese like dialogue for the Japanese game? I mean, I don't expect you to know.
I assume these were localized separately.
'Cause-
I think he even says that in the interview. Like, oh yeah, it came out a few months later because the localization process was a little different because we had to do voiceover.
I would love to hear Star Fox 64's original Japanese cast. I think that would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially after playing Tears of the Kingdom and putting Japanese on as the main dialogue. It rocks.
Yeah, I'm bummed I didn't do that. But
I don't understand Japanese. I just love how it sounds.
yeah, they just know what they're doing.
Well, we're playing Japanese products, and to hear the first, what they made for themselves. That's kind of, I think, the superior. As long as I understand what they're saying in subtitles. It's fine.
I'll just note on the voice acting, like, and its effectiveness. I mean, maybe it's just because it was the first, but like replaying this, there were everybody knows do a barrel roll, right?
Of course.
But like, there were so many one-liners. I was like, this is a thing I just say to myself all the time. Jeez Louise, what is that? Is like probably the second like most prominent one for me.
See, that's another Falco banger right there, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if other ones will come to me as we sort of review.
My Emperor, I failed you.
Okay, yeah.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you want to move into here?
I want to move into a nice,
Hit me.
comfy sweater, maybe big old bowl of hot cocoa. I don't know. Do you drink hot cocoa with a spoon too?
I don't.
I just blacked out what happened.
Here's what I do with hot cocoa. When my mom makes it for the grandkids, I'll just pour a little splash of it into my coffee. That rocks.
yeah.
It's too much sugar for me.
A hot mocha.
Yeah, right.
Okay. For real though, I want to talk about Star Fox 64. Let's get into Corneria. As you click the level, because the way that this differs also from N64, or the N64 differs from the Super Nintendo, is the level select. It all starts with the same Corneria. I believe as you play through the Super Nintendo, the routes are completely separate. But if you look at the board as it's presented on the game, it all starts with Corneria, and then that's when the branching patches.
So darn hard.
It really, really does. So you click the level. There's like a fun explosion, and it zooms in on the planet, and we get this little back and forth from General Pepper. He says, "You're late. We need you." And Fox says, "Andros won't have his way with me." And I was like, "Oh, I don't. No one brought that up, but okay." Like.
No one gives a shit about your beef with Andros.
Right.
That's not what I'm paying you for.
So these like dialogue exchanges, or that's before every level. It's become quite a trope with Star Fox. Then we get this great, as you're saying, like this like cinematic opening of where we get an intro to the planet, and it's all the R-wings. They're like kind of like just like they're not like aggressively flying yet. It's like before they start to get into action, they're just kind of like in formation, not going full speed, and with like going through clouds. It's all very beautiful.
Yeah, I'm just gonna note. I think whoever directed these cutscenes like loved Independence Day, and we'll see. Even more
we'll
stark
talk about
examples
Independence
of
Day
this later.
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely.
And like on just this one, noting the freedom of camera movement, that they're like the camera is a drone shot that goes between all of the R-wing cockpits. Before we had any concept of like how easy it'd be to film with a drone 20 years later,
right?
Which is really cool.
Man, just like watching like how much of an improvement Star Fox 64 is over the Super Nintendo. It's like hard to ever imagine playing the Super Nintendo version again.
Yeah, having any reason for it.
I would be interested to play some more Star Fox 2 on Super Nintendo, just because, maybe not for the show, but it is a genuinely fun game. But man, Star Fox 64 rips. You're on Corneria. We'll just talk about, I guess, like the rail shooter aspect of this really forces you to be aware of where enemies are hiding on the screen, because the name of the game in Star Fox is like what is the name of the game? Scores, high scores.
Yeah, dude, it's
max kills.
Really just like really bullseyed the replay value of the game with the way that scores and medals are utilized. One
of the best refinements that I'm going to stop trying to compare this to the Super Nintendo, but like what really the biggest refinement, in my opinion, on top of just like basic like fluid, playability, is the inclusion of combos and the charge shot. That's where those are the two like biggest, like off the bat, like changes that have been made to this game, is that if you are able to destroy multiple enemies with one hit from your charged laser blast. So in the past, if you held down the laser button, it would just shoot a volley of like 4 blasts. But now if you keep holding down the shoot button, it'll charge up like Mega Man's Buster or like Samus Aran's arm gun or whatever. And then you can lock on to an enemy, and when you release, it'll send like a laser bomb kind of at them. And if you damage more than 2 people with that one blast, you get bonuses in terms of kill of like head count. So this is how you are like earning. This is the long game for this, because playing through Star Fox 64, we talked about this before. I'd say it's maybe like a 45-minute like gameplay.
Yeah, and like your first run or two, you can probably beat the easy route.
Yes, for sure. It's got the way that this game like hid its difficulty levels is brilliant to me, because I didn't know just right off the bat which was the hardest route and which was the easiest route, because it's really determined on the achievements that you can hit on in the level. It's not about
and very strange factors, like in this one, that you have to like fly through those arches to if you watch the video version of the podcast, we just ran like my easy mode playthrough where I purposely avoided an arch, so I'd go to the easy boss.
Right. So back to Corneria. Corneria is a beautiful blue Earth analog for the Lilat system, and it's under siege by Andross's forces. And from what we can tell right now, Andross's forces are little alien robot spaceship bug things and some giant like mech robots as well. And so we've got like, a city under attack. There's like smoking buildings and like all this stuff. Like Falco seems to be really distressed about what's happened to Corneria. As Josh mentioned, there's the way that you can branch off in this level from going from the hard or the easy routes is if you decide to go through arches, as you said, and if you succeed in it, Falco will bring you to a flying spaceship boss. And if you decide, or if you don't see that challenge, because it's like a hidden skill test, really, right? Like it's a coordination, go through the thing. It's like a driving test. And if you don't do that, then you're going to fight like a landwalker, like mecha robot that's like pretty primitive and silly looking.
It's a remodel of the first boss in the easy and medium route on the original. And can I add like one more just sort of, I think, the development evolution about the replay value and the points and stuff is making it so that it's all on screen in front of you as you progress the stage is huge, because from replaying the SNES version, my memory was just because like I'd get to the end of the level and it'd give me a number. I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
I don't know what I did, but that seems big.
that would give you percentages, whereas this gives you body count.
Yeah,
and I think that's what I like to have a very up to date number of how many people I've killed.
Yeah, and that number is like I'm still after I've probably played 100 hours of this game in my life.
Yeah.
I'm still not 100% on the math of it, where it's like number of hits plus 1, but I think it's you get the initial hits, then doubled, and then plus 1 or something. But then the bosses
in terms of the combos. Yeah. So if you destroy 2 people with 1 hit, you get a plus 1. So you'll get a total of 3 hits. If you destroy and it just keeps going up by 1 as that. So if I were to shoot 5 people at the same time, I'd get a plus 4. So a total of 9 kills.
Yeah,
I believe that is the way that it's rationalized. But
I'll double check and confirm that on the interwebs as we move on, so nobody yells at us in the comments.
but please do yell at us in the comments, and because that's still engagement.
Negative engagement's the best kind you can get on the internet.
What's your stance on Israel and Palestine? You want to just like talk about that?
Nobody will remember that by the time this comes out.
Oh no, because we'll just be under a pile of rubble at that point. So upon beating the easy route, you would then go to the asteroid field, and the asteroid field is pretty dang cool in my opinion. This is your first opportunity,
specifically called Meteo in the game, right?
No, Meteo is its own.
Am I wrong?
I believe this is just called the asteroid field.
Where's my maps? I need my maps. No, it's Meteo. That's the maybe the SNES name for it.
Yeah, the SNES one that was like a planet like level on its own because a meteor. We talked about this in the Super Nintendo one, but yeah, meteors are just meteors or asteroids once they've entered into.
Right.
Oh, okay. So it's called Meteo Asteroid Field. Is the level, and so.
I want to know real quick on like the level starts when you get the mission number and like sort of the subtitle for the mission. Gives me whiffs of Evangelion, whiffs of Hideaki Anno. I love it. Just the confident, plain white text on a black screen. Very nice.
Yeah. They didn't invent that though.
Yeah, but like it was in the zeitgeist in 1997.
Oh,
in Japan.
Absolutely.
I like to think they were friends. Anyway.
Let's see. The things worth talking about in the asteroid field, or AKA Meteo, first and foremost, this is your first opportunity to do a black hole warp.
Yeah.
And we'll talk more about the significance of the black hole warps when we get to Sector Y. But I think it's these types of levels, and it's very similar to its predecessor, where this is you get your high score by shooting as many asteroids as you can, and it's like the level opens up with just like a huge flurry of asteroids, and if you get like a well placed bomb, like you can just bump those numbers.
Yeah. Another ism from this game: use bombs wisely.
Yes, and take that advice too, because I think it's my instinct to like in yours too to like save bombs.
Oh yeah,
as much as you
can.
Any
item in any game.
Yeah, I know. No, use them. If you're going for metals, you need to rely on bombs, and like every time you find one is it telling you to use a bomb, because there's going to be an opportunity to like get a huge kill count.
Yeah,
it sounds so brutal talking about it like this. Like we're just like, I just need to kill as many as possible. But like that is what this game is.
Oh yeah, I was kind of getting into that by the end of my streaming sessions about all the bodies I was racking up and just playfully hanging out, just having a little adventure with my pals. You know, the dichotomy of that. But what was I gonna say about this?
I brought up warping, the black hole warp, and then just shooting as many asteroids and using bombs.
Oh, the bombs. I just was going to note, I think some of the twitchiness is that when you're coming over from the SNES version, this game is much more gracious with items.
Oh, yeah.
Is another fun factor that it adds. That in the last game, it was like, if you die and you lose your twin blasters, you're like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And like this game, most levels you can be back to the highest level like hyper laser thing by the time you reach the boss if you have to respawn.
One huge help talking about like how this has developed from its we'll call it its tech demo on the Super Nintendo is how you referred to it. Your teammates on Star Fox, Peppy, Slippy, Falco, their names and like a corresponding color flag always shows up over their R-wings when they're flying in front of you, which makes them actually discernible from enemies now.
Yeah.
Because I shot my teammates so much on accident just from them going, and like the game's putting them in there as obstacles sometimes. Like the thing you want to shoot, your teammate is going to fly in front of it and you have to avoid shooting them at certain times. Mm-hmm. Okay, my favorite enemy on Meteo, the asteroid field, is this bug that shoots multicolored bubble rings at your ship. Yeah. It's visually just kind of it's hard to describe a lot of these enemies because they're just kind of like these amorphous jellyfish-like spaceship robots. Like, what are we shooting? Like, it's worth consideration, but these ones that shoot these rings that fill the entire screen, it kind of satisfies that like visual spectacle that these games really aimed for. When you get to a certain part in the level, you're going to see these like glowing blue rings that you want to fly through. And if you're when you go through one, something happens to your ship that hasn't happened thus far, and it starts to do like barrel rolls independent of itself, and you're going faster and faster and faster. Now, in this game, you can toggle between third person and first person anytime you're not in all range mode. I tried to go through these rings in first person mode.
Oh God, yeah, dude.
It is a nightmare.
Yeah. That is like the one thing they maybe screwed up a little bit is the first person mode in the original Star Fox. I often found it honestly a little easier.
Yes, absolutely.
In this, it's just like drunk driving.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like, because it puts you, instead of first person of, say, like a static camera of the field of view with a targeting reticule, it's like, no, you're in first person of Fox's eyeballs.
Yes.
It's maddening.
It's really cool for the time. That blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like, and I've always been really into first person shooters. Ever since Doom came out, I've been into that genre. And any game, like, because Nintendo didn't really have that big of a selection of FPSs at that point, and any game that would like offer, I specifically think of like Ocarina of Time, when you get your bow and arrow, you technically turn into a first person shooter at that game, and like that blew me away. I was just like, oh my god, games. I think I've said this before. I was convinced games would never get better than this.
Right.
Like, this is the pinnacle of technology, and it's very charming now to look at it.
Just a quick side note, maybe a recommendation. I've just recently tried Outer Wilds. Have you heard of it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't given any.
It's So Camp Video Games. It's a first person space exploration, solar system exploration.
Yeah.
And it's all about like the physics of operating and flying in this very small solar system, and how like the orbits and gravity of everything impact your navigation. And it's like It's weird because it's like both nightmarish to control and very charming in the way it's done in first person.
Outer Worlds?
Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds. Wait,
Yeah.
maybe I'm thinking of something
They're
else.
two different games with very similar names. From
Okay, I'm thinking of the
similar
Bethesda.
moment. No, yeah, not. Yeah, they're easy to mix up.
Or is that Starfield? I'm kind of behind on new games right now.
It don't matter.
Yeah,
but
I'm
Outer
more-
Wilds is pretty dope.
I've always been a bit more fixated on retro games in general, just because I'm broke.
Yeah, Outer Wilds. It's kind of like if you could play the movie Interstellar at times. It's very, very interesting and related to this. And like when you're talking about that first person view of Fox in a dogfight.
Yeah.
This game, I've only played 3 hours or so. It's like so far there's no fighting, but like that's what it is. It's just first person navigation
Sick.
through space with like this very realistic sort of like lunar lander type spaceship that you have to fly.
Right on.
Yeah. So worth checking out if you like the space exploration aspect of Star Fox.
All right. Well, I'll put that on the docket. Let's see.
Other than that, media wise, yeah, you fight this Crusher thing at the end, and that's it's a boss fight. I think all the boss fights in this are pretty good.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
they're
especially
all-
with the voice acting in them. Like the enemies are like they're all pretty kind of copy and paste, but they still have fun line deliveries.
Yeah, but they're fun like cinematic heightening and like have this action movie feel to them because the boss interacts with you. This is not one of my standout bosses. Some of them I'm like, I love this
yeah.
guy.
The guy on Medio though, he's a little bit fun because he tries to, if I'm remembering correctly, this is he says, "I'm no match for you. I admit defeat," and he like turns around to feign defeat, but then he just like and like goes back into attacking you.
And the music heightens, and maybe it might get you the first time. I probably got by that when I was 11 or 12 the first time it happened to me.
Okay. Let's see. I guess moving on from Medio. Anything else you want to talk about? That's a fun level. If you hit the warps right, it'll take you on a different route to Katina, I think, is the next level you'd go to if you warp from that asteroid field. But let's just keep going on this easy route here, where the next level is Fortuna. And this is where we get to fight Star Wolf.
Enter Star Wolf. Yes.
In previous discussions, I've gushed over Star Wolf, and specifically about Wolfgang Seamus, the leader of Star Wolf. I guess this is where the game is introducing the Nemesis team to Star Fox, and that's what Star Wolf is. And this is their first appearance in the series, and this is our opportunity to talk about the different pilots in Star Wolf. So first and it's fun because like you could see the members of Star Wolf and who their natural like counterpart to Star Fox would be, right?
Yeah.
Like Wolf and Fox, obviously. Pigma and Peppy, I would assume, are the ones they'd be rivals in that sense. Leon and Falco, and then Pigma and Slippy and Andrew.
Andrew.
My Uncle Andros, and he's just like the dork that's like coming along to make sure everyone's laptops stay charged. So this is the level itself is it introduces all range mode. Well, no, I guess the boss fight at Corneria on the easy route.
Well, this is your first sort of like World War I style dogfight.
Yeah, a good way of putting it.
If you're going the easy route, which is something that is a lot of fun in this game.
Oh yeah. And this is kind of the introduction of how multiplayer fights would be. Yeah, just like the open world dogfight.
So did you want to introduce the Star Wolf team? I'm happy to provide the background on each member.
Yeah. Let's start with Star Fox, or I'm sorry, with Star Wolf.
Star Wolf. Don't call him Star Wolf. His name is Wolf O'Donnell. Wolf,
Interesting.
The leader of the mercenary Star Wolf team, would like nothing more than to see Fox McCloud fail.
Okay, I have to stop you right there. That's already a discrepancy between a Fox in Space and Star Fox, because in a Fox in Space, his name is Wolfgang Seamus.
Interesting.
And this one, he's O'Donnell. It's still Irish, though.
Does his dad call him that or something? Like maybe he's saying his first and middle name?
I believe we first hear it when Wolf goes to meet with Bill. He goes, Wolfgang Seamus, how are you?
That could also be like a first middle name, kind of like maybe they're making a joke of like, how silly is it that this guy's like an Irish or Scottish name in space? So they added his middle name to the show. I don't know.
But okay, so that's Star Wolf. He hates Star Fox.
Yep.
That's such a cool personality.
That's his background. That's his whole story.
And he ditched his girlfriend at a parking lot and stole her dad's car.
And who else we got here?
We got Leon, the lizard boy.
All right, Leon Pawalski.
Pawalski, get in here.
Leon the Pollock. Leon the Chameleon is a master of disguise and cunning tactics. No one knows where he comes from, but one thing's for sure: Leon loves to inflict pain and mayhem wherever he goes. He is second only to Wolf as a flyer.
Okay. Being a master of disguise doesn't mean shit in a dogfight. What a dumb skill to have.
That's great.
Moving on, Pigma Dangar.
Pigma Dangar used to fly with the Star Fox team, but he sold out his comrades for money and turned to evil.
Ooh. And then we got Andrew Oikonini.
Yeah, whatever that name's supposed to be. Andrew Oikonini. Andrew, nephew of Andros, is not much of a flyer or a fighter. His favorite book is The Apes of Wrath.
I hate that. That doesn't even make sense.
They just were like, we got to give this guy a few more words of filler text.
Oh my God. They could have said anything. That does okay. Nope. I'm not going to. I could talk about John Steinbeck for a little bit if you want, but like, The Grapes of Wrath, if you think about the meaning of the title, just making it The Apes of Wrath is just like, that is just lazy. That'd be like, did you ever read the sequel? The sequel to 1984. It's 1985. Did you ever read that?
Nah, dude.
I'm sorry. Okay, man, Nintendo, come on.
So yeah, you fight these guys on Fortuna. Starts with there's an enemy base, there's your base under attack.
Yes,
and you're just fighting guys.
Yeah, there's just like a lot of like jets flying around.
Is it before or after Star Wolf comes out that Slippy's like, why are enemies coming out of the base?
Yeah,
is that this level? Yeah.
You have to end up defusing a bomb.
Yeah.
Is what happens.
Okay, so that's this level, right? Okay.
Which really just means you have to defeat the enemies before the timer runs out. Defusing a bomb that's just like you have to do this, and in order to do this, you have to shoot all the guys.
But it's effective.
Oh yeah.
I don't need to go and physically dismantle a bomb to have fun.
There's a man. Yeah.
The Wolfen is the name of the ships that the Star Wolf guys use. They look like two R-wings like glued on top of each other with a little cockpit in the middle.
Right, because they've got more of like an X-wing like shape of the wings, at least.
Yeah, it's like a X-wing and a B-wing put together if you're a Star Wars nerd.
I'm a recovering Star Wars nerd.
Honestly, yeah, same. But they in this level, it's pretty easy to take them down. They can deflect your charge shots, but you do a barrel roll, a loop, whatever they call it.
Do somersault.
Do a somersault.
Or a U-turn.
Yeah, or a U-turn, and then it's like you're right on their heels. You gun them down. It's super easy. Baby shoes stuff after the first time.
It's a perfect introduction. Mm-hmm. It's especially since that's level 3 on the easy route. Like, you introduce the bad guy, or I guess this is like this would be like the lieutenant before you have to fight the mafia boss. You got to fight his consigliere.
Yeah, and another one-liner is there that like the wolf team is shocked by your ability to do these maneuvers.
Yes.
You get another great one-liner. What the heck? From Wolf every time you do it.
What the heck? Yeah, if you like outmaneuver him, like it's great. I mean, this was breaking my like grasp on reality when I was playing this game. Is that like not only is my video game talking back to me, but it also has specific like dialogue depending on what I do. They not only react to you shooting them, they also react to like shooting you. Like there's like they're malicious. They're taunting you. Like Pigma is like, when he enters, he's like, "Too bad your dad's not here to see you fail."
Yeah.
It's just like a sick. Speaking, okay, I want to address something that has really been bothering me with Peppy throughout this entire game. As we know, Peppy used to work with Fox's father, James McCloud, and throughout the game, Peppy is he's just bringing up your dad. Like he's like, "Oh, your father used to save me like this," or you're becoming more like your father. And I've already discussed how this made me feel when my parents got divorced. This game came out, and like there was just like a lot of like kind of like, ugh. But like I just feel like it's like Peppy. Like we're in the middle of a fight right now. Don't bring up my dead dad. Like
right.
This is like it's like almost like counterproductive here. Like it's like the way Pigma does it, it's obvious that he's like doing that to like fuck with you. He's like, "Your dad's dead, fuck you." But like it's basically just like Peppy being like, "Your dad's dead, I love you." It's just like, "But dad's dead." Like
you just need a few more reminders that your dad is dead.
Your dad's dead, and he's never coming back.
Yeah.
And so I just like, yeah, I'd be like, you don't have to bring him up every time I do something, Peppy. I'm my own fox, okay? Like, yes, he cast a long shadow, but I am in my own sunlight.
Uh-huh. And again, this is effectively done through 4 or 5 lines of dialogue through this game, and you feel it. You feel it,
Yeah.
And so the fail state for this level, I don't recall the reasoning that you go to Sector X instead of Solar. But that is if you do fail to defuse the bomb.
Yeah.
You fail to defeat Star Fox in time. You go on to Sector X.
Sector X, that's a fun one. That is, let's see. Well, no, let's just move on to Solar here. If you succeed at the level.
Oh boy, that puts me out of order. I can do that.
Yeah, Solar is the. Oh wait, hold on. I'm just looking at this footage. This is kind of in real time, figuring out what we're doing here.
Oh yeah, I had information in my memory that you did not.
Yeah, no, go lead this part then, please.
Anyway, yeah, we'll get back to it. Here we are. We're in Sector X, everybody. Welcome. So I don't recall the reason you go on to Sector X instead of Solar, but it's not super important. And
because you have to defeat Andros. It's everything is just them being like, Andros's forces are here. They're attacking our shit, or we need to attack their shit.
They do find increasingly less clever ways to be like, Andros. Ugh. Yeah. I don't like this level. The main characterization of it is that as you go on, you see there's supposed to be like a base here and it's all wrecked.
Yeah.
And you see these like giant robot mech parts coming through.
That's right. It's super sick. Yeah, like the giant flying arm that goes past you is probably the first identifiable piece. So something's in the works here. And this is okay. I'm pretty sure this is the one where it's basically you get to fight an evil Rob 64.
I didn't think of it that way. Yes. And like the parts of it are like you kind of what you see coming through. And I think, the tone of it for me at 11 or 12 years old, like it really does set this sort of mysterious, vaguely spooky vibe.
Absolutely.
That you're first flying towards this big blank wall. This arm comes through and you get Falco's, "What the heck is that?"
Yeah.
There's this level of concern on your team throughout the level.
So Sector X is the subtitle Combat Zone.
I think so.
It seems like tonally it's like they pulled up here expecting to find a Cornerian base of some sort, and it's been destroyed. So I think the analog for that would be like, I thought Alderaan was supposed to be here.
Right.
And then you see the super weapon that they've been developing. This is like visually it's all happening in space. You got this great like what is like, it's not a Milky Way. What is the X in Sector X?
I mean, it looks like what the view we get of the Milky Way. If you're somewhere that there's enough darkness that you can see it.
Yeah. Galaxy. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna get at. I was like, it looks like Sector X, Y, and Z is just kind of, I don't know if we had to place reasoning behind why they're like that. It's like, oh, these are galaxies next door galaxies we can see, and they're kind of shaped like letters, so we named them after them.
It's convenient for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this level's cool though. Yeah, because of the deconstructed, like all the like space debris flying around. It's like you've seen, like you could put all of this like broken stuff together and like be like, oh, that would be scaffolding. That would be like the rebar for the structure. It's cool. Yeah, we talked about this in like Breath of the Wild, where it's like, yeah, seeing like a castle, like a beautiful, gorgeous, like perfect castle is one thing, but seeing that beautiful, perfect castle after it's been like destroyed by time and battle, like that's got so much more character. It just like, you're like, yeah, oh yeah, this place is at war. And so okay, I will bring this up only under the pretense that, like, I assume if you're listening to this, you understand what the Andros fight is like at the end of the game. This is setting you up for an Andros fight. This is Andros trying to synthesize what he's doing to himself.
Yeah,
in my own way. It's like a prototype.
It's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah.
And so it's because,
and it has this sort of baby talk type vibe to it. This baby robot talk. It's a lot like GLaDOS from Portal.
That's right. Yeah.
With less personality, but in its brevity, it kind of squares the same circle.
So you defeat its first mode where you destroy like the shielding, like protecting the robot. It's like it's a torso with robot arm. Everything's robotic, and it's got no legs, but just a torso with arms and a head. You blow the head up, and then the robot's head is shown like in the cockpit of it, and then you have to destroy it. It's speaking to you in like destroy. You are. It's like almost oh geez, there's a classic Star Trek episode with I believe it was V'ger, where they find like the Voyager satellite. It had been recovered, but it had like evolved and grown sentient. And then it like was on this like, you are obsolete, I must, cleanse, and that kind of thing. It seems to be taking kind of a cue from that script, where the robot is just, it's speaking very declarative, simple, logic-based, sentence structure. Hey, you got a medal on that level. Good job, buddy.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's Sean reacting to that. We got footage running in the background to cue us up. That's no big deal.
Literally, getting a medal on these levels is an accomplishment. These levels have certain levels have a lot of forgivable, or like, they're very forgiving in terms of throwing you a bone in terms of how many enemies will appear on screen and make them easily killable. But certain levels are very, like Corneria, the first level of the game is pretty hard to get a medal on. I have not successful's done it yet.
Yeah, I replayed it quite a few times, and I came within 5 points or so. But yeah, it's a little tricky on some of them. Some of them are gimmies. Yeah. Once you've kind of got the vibe of it. So did you say Titania, which is the next planet on the easy route? Did you say you weren't able to get to it?
This is the level where Slippy it gets separated from the team, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, because the way you get here is like you have to be complete dog shit at fighting that cyborg.
Yeah, you see, I'm just too good.
And it grabs Slippy, I think, and just throws him to the planet. I didn't get the cutscene because I just changed my route after I beat the boss.
Yeah. Oh, so the robot Slippy gets too close to the robot that we were just describing, and the robot throws Slippy's R-Wing at Titania.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And the level, I believe, is called, like, The Search for Slippy.
Oh, my God. And going back to Star Trek, the Search for Spock.
Mm-hmm. And it's also I believe your first time likely going to be your first time using the Landmaster tank.
Woo! Let's talk about the tank.
And there's a little bit of lore to like Slippy helped develop it, because in the other level, when you do have Slippy with you, they're like, wow, great job putting this together, Slippy.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cute that they're like, oh, we're going to use Slippy's tech to go save him on the surface of this planet.
Yeah, good point. Because why a tank is needed for this level, I'm not totally sure, because all the R-Wings are flying in support of you, and this looks like it might actually be safer for a pilot to be in a ship than on the, because everyone's just like throwing rocks at you, and
right. It's way more maneuverability if you're not on the ground.
The level design in Star Fox 64 is a joy.
Yeah.
They have I have a soft spot for like the palette and like the aesthetics of N64 graphics specifically, because that's my childhood to some degree, or at least that's my juvenile childhood, preteen-hood, and the Landmaster. Let's talk about this tank, because it's.
Well, I was just on the note of the graphics. I'm not particularly attracted to N64 graphics.
Yeah,
like there's just a very in-betweenness about them.
Yeah.
That like doesn't do it for me beyond like, oh yeah, this is what I played when I was 12.
Yeah.
It's not like something I would like show to my own children and be like, this is art.
Oh,
it's
like I don't think of it as like an artistic creative like accomplishment. It's more just like a charming like aesthetic limitation that led to some pretty iconic images.
Yeah.
I don't know, just I like the palette that they're working with, and it to me it's very I think you're wrong. I think your opinion is wrong.
Yeah, I can't find much value in it beyond just like you started by describing the nostalgia of it, that I'm just like, yeah, but like visually, aesthetically doesn't please me.
Sure.
To look at. And pretty much like even Ocarina of Time is not like aesthetically pleasing for me to look at.
Yeah.
Like I think Wind Waker holds up.
Wind Waker's
like never gonna go out of style.
Yeah, that's a good point.
But everybody hated it when it came out.
What a sad reason to hate that game, because that is such a fun Zelda title that is worth revisiting.
Yeah, okay, tell me about the Landmaster.
I want to talk about this tank. Okay, the things that the tank, like how it changes gameplay from being an R-Wing, is that you are. First and foremost, like you're primarily going to be on the ground. Although the tank has twin hover jets, one on each side, so you can use that to either aggressively roll in one direction, or if you hold them both down, you will hover up, which is like I don't know if they outright tell you to do that, but it's like it happens pretty intuitively. It's that this is why Nintendo rocks, because they know how you're holding the controller, and they know what your instincts are to do when you have that controller in your hand. Excuse me.
It is, there's a natural flow to the way that you're going to pick up your tank off the ground.
Yeah. It's just a nice change of pace. And in this case, this is the good change of pace that this game offers, and we'll get to maybe the less good.
Yeah, I think the tank levels, like they're not my favorite, but the deviation is interesting.
Yeah, the level itself, it's a desert. You're fighting slightly insectoid robot spaceships and things, and to other tanks, and they're throwing pillars. It's this like big. It's a desert. It's about as interesting as a desert can be in a N64 game, where it's like they've got the sand color and they've got a nice kind of skyline color, and thematically that's all it really accomplishes. There's the main draw of this level is the boss fight. So is this our first kaiju? Like
Uh,
everything else has been
Probably.
piloted
I mean,
at this point.
since we're talking about the easy route, yes,
Yeah.
this is your first like biological kaiju type boss. Yeah.
So you get to this is a pretty cool looking boss. It reminds me of a Stalfos from The Legend of Zelda, kind of mixed with.
Yeah, these bosses are more Zelda-esque.
They look. I mean, the assets in this game and a lot of the music sounds like it's straight out of Ocarina of Time. Very consistent. I mean, this is when Nintendo took Star Fox seriously. This was their like
the 1 month.
This is it. I mean, this is when they treated it as an A-tier game, whereas
Yeah.
they then like quickly just put it on the back burner. But Slippy, he's it still blows my mind that Slippy's a man too.
I love my good boy.
I love Slippy. There's no judgment on the gender. It's just like the voice is projected so femininely.
Yeah.
And it just kind of like it was like a splash of cold water in my frog face when I found out Slippy was a dude. But Slippy's R-wing is being held in the clutches of this like bone reptile monster. It's like it looks like a Stalfos, like an undead skeleton monster with like some like organic goo coming out of it.
the guide calls it Goraz.
That's sick. So after Slippy, it's inferred that like after the robot flung Slippy onto the planet, Slippy immediately got caught. Slippy's the worst pilot on the team. That has to be like
Yeah,
that
but he
really
makes
has to
up
be
for it
stated.
in tech. Our
Oh,
good
for
boy.
sure. So from a gameplay perspective, what Slippy offers is a assessment of the boss's shields. Without Slippy, if your teammate Slippy gets knocked out of the fight and has to duck out, then you won't know how much health the boss of the level has while Slippy is absent.
Yeah.
That is the main function that Slippy serves, alongside just being a homie.
Yeah, and while we're on like what their purposes are,
Yeah.
Peppy gives you the how-to. He'll if you take too long, he'll start giving you hints. And Falco's just a worthless POS.
Falco will lead you to alternate routes that will then take you to different level progressions. Like in Corneria, Falco is the one that takes you to the difficult one. But yeah, mostly he's just there to like sneer at you and like, from Fox's perspective, he's in his cockpit, he's doing his job. His entire team is constantly be like, Fox, get the guy behind me. Fox, like,
Yeah.
oh, help. I'm completely useless apparently. And then if you take aim at somebody that maybe one of your other teammates was gunning for, if you kill that enemy, they take it so personally. They're like,
Yeah, that was the one time I was going to be useful.
yeah. It's like, I'm sorry. The point of this war is to win. It's not to. This isn't Legolas and Gimli like getting their body count at Helm's Deep.
Yeah.
Like this is war, kid. Like, leave the pride at the door.
Yeah, Falco. I said, shut up, Falco, so many times in my stream. I kind of want to pull one and put it on a soundboard. Just, I don't know what the use case will be for it on the podcast, but
Anytime I get a little too disrespectful.
and that sends us on to Bols.
The Bolst Defense Outpost.
Yeah.
This looks like a Borg cube with like I don't even know how to describe the shape of this thing. It's like a rectangle with a
Through a prism.
Yeah,
Through
thank
a
you.
pyramid.
It's a
shoved through
little
pyramid,
silly,
yeah.
but this level is actually pretty fun. It's another all range mode, like kind of sandbox area.
Yeah,
and-
but there's this is one of the first times you get something that drove me crazy in the first game, and it doesn't bug me as much in this, where you get a little bit of like a forced like not perspective, like direction, like the camera's forcing you in a round
there's
to point you at these shield towers.
I always thought of it as like this area has its own gravity, and it's like so vastly different from a planet's more like distributed gravity that like it's like spinning, and it's like kind of bringing you close down, and what you're doing is like you're flying it, like visually it looks like you're flying like the Death Star run as an X-wing pilot. And you're on the surface of this defense outpost, and you're destroying all these like force field sources. Like there's like all these like power sources powering a force field in the center, and you go and you shoot all the glowing things, and then the next part of it starts up. It's a level that really requires you to use your brakes and your boost to navigate a bit more effectively because of the force perspective and all of what you just mentioned, Josh. But it's another. It's not just another level in the sense that, like, you know, you're on a planet and you go and you do the stuff. Like, this gives you some pretty clear objectives while still being a little open-ended for you to take some time and maybe rack up some kills if you wanted to try to get a medal on this one. There's a lot of enemies flying around.
It seems like the most likely place you'll learn one of the most useful tools in the game, which is, like, I call it kind of like the hard stop U-turn, or like the quick U-turn.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is when you just tilt, brake, and then just hard slam your analog stick the direction you want to turn. So you can skip the animation of the U-turn.
That is vital, especially if you're playing multiplayer.
Yeah.
and just we'll get to the second fight with Starwolf too, how that is, like, absolutely essential. So yeah, after you destroy all the shield power sources, like, a core presents itself, and I don't want to sound too rude on it, but you shoot the glowing parts again and again. Like, that's just how it's
if it glows, hit it.
If it glows, it can die. One thing that Rob64 offers in this game is if it seems to happen when things are going rough, or it's on pre-scripted spots on more linear stages. Rob64 will, like, buzz in on your intercom communications, and he says location confirmed, sending supplies, and then you'll either get, like, a health boost, or maybe a bomb, or maybe a laser upgrade. Or another very, very important resource that this game offers is the wing repair.
I never needed one.
Yeah, well, I'm sure because you kept rewinding. So actually, that's the difference between the N64 online and the Super Nintendo online, is that this one, as far as I know, doesn't have the rewind ability.
It does not. Boy, did I find that out the hard way the other day.
This is if you're playing Star Fox 64 on Switch Online, like, it's recommended if you're playing it like your dear junior counselors are. You want to do a little save state before every new level,
very good idea.
Just so you don't completely stub your toe in the, like, last level of a playthrough, and then, like, have to fuck up and do everything over again.
So here's something wild that I'm like, is this just a misprint, or do I really not remember this? The player's guide says that Starwolf will encounter you in this level. Am I just, like, it's just been so long since I've been bad enough to wait long enough for them to show up? Or is that a misprint? I don't...
I can't say with authority. I don't believe I've ever fought Starwolf on that level. That would kind of suck with the way that the physics treat you on that one.
Well, doesn't it let go once the shields are down? That, like, sort of gravitational pull?
That's a good question. I wish I had a good answer.
It says here at the end of the segment about Starwolf coming back, it says, playtime is over, Wolf taunts. Make those his last words. I feel like I remember that line. I think it's just like you have to be bad enough to wait for them to come. Okay, so Detour of Duty, which is a segment they put in the player's guide whenever there's a different route something can take you. Hold on.
Now, you do fight... Don't you fight Starwolf at the Area 6 defense station? Or there's another... Because you'll fight them on Venom.
It's only Venom. The other one we talked about, or this one? Okay, so I'm going to read this little bit.
Yeah. So this is from the official Star Fox
guide. This is the guide. There's these detours of duty that sort of tell you, like, oh, here's where things can happen a little differently. Not only do you have to battle swarms of Bolts fighters, but you'll have to tangle with Starwolf. Mission 6 has no time limit, so go for the hit points and destroy all enemies before targeting the core. If your R-Wing gets crippled, blow away the laser cannons to power up your ship with bonus items.
Yeah, there's laser cannons on the ground in front of you, just kind of scattered around.
I think it's just like if you take your time and defeat enemies, they'll eventually come in, but I can't find anywhere that says like win or...
Interesting.
Huh. I don't think either of us has been bad enough at this game in 25 years to run into that.
Yeah, that's interesting. After that level, though, it's on to Venom.
Yeah.
For the easy route.
Should we do the easy route of Venom? Let's see. We still got a lot of Star Fox 64 ground to cover here. I don't know if we should say wrap on this easy route of Venom and do a two-parter again. What are you thinking? What are you thinking?
Let's just roll with it.
You want to plow through it? Yeah, I'll probably have to get a little water sippy at break, but I can plow through. I got nowhere to be.
Yeah. This first approach to Venom is how most people have probably gone through it. Just because all of the obvious decisions lead to this route, basically. And Venom as a level is the planet Venom is kind of pea soup. Brown, green. It's
such an ugly planet.
Such an ugly planet. And it's really exciting because it's this has been the whole objective is like we've got to kill Andross.
Yeah. And you go straight in. You don't interface with General Pepper beforehand. It just keeps going from where you were.
I wonder if communications from General Pepper are scrambled at this point once you enter Venom airspace or something from a world building perspective. But I mean, not surprisingly, the last level is loaded with enemies.
It's great.
And this is where you start to get really acrobatic in your flight skills. Like you have to do a lot of dodging of natural and artificial obstacles. And it's certain parts, I don't know. It always feels like, okay, when you're flying through these levels and there's these huge, I'll describe them as flocks of fighter jets that attack you. I just feel like I'm shooting a bunch of ducks. The way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like a flock of ducks comes out and you're shooting scatter shot.
And I don't know if I'm supposed to believe that these are military assets or if it's more like a Sonic the Hedgehog thing where it's we ran out of real animals or all of our real animals turned into jet pilots and now we just our animals are just these robot planes. It's a very strange making sense of it at the end, but this gets into the idea of okay, as you're navigating, pillars of rocks start to fly up from the ground directly in your flight path. Is Andross doing this psychically? Or is he pressing a button somewhere that they're release the rocks?
Yeah, I just kind of I don't know.
I just let it be a video game.
Mostly, I just let it be a video game. But it's if I had to apply some lore to it. I just thought of it as pre-established booby traps or something, as a last line of defense shield blockade,
It's a good way of looking at it. But these, okay, so we'll talk about what you see on the other side of the black hole a little bit later. But the environment that Andross has created seems to almost be in response to it or inspired by it in certain points. I'm specifically talking about these there's this the groups of the beams that wooden or stone pillars that fly in front of you and they're interconnecting and they're floating in such a way, and you'll see that in the black hole warp. And if you've listened to our Fox in Space discussion, you'll know that this is very important to understanding Andross as a antagonist.
Yeah. Do you want a little lore dump from the player's guide about Venom?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Give it to me.
Why not? We're gonna hold on. So the Lilat data link. They have these little breakaways in the pages with a picture of Rob 64.
Love it.
The headline: Evidence of a lost tribe? ?
Cool. Oh, the Zoni.
Yeah. So the first stage of the final battle basically is this rock monster that's running away from you, and you're dodging stuff. It's throwing things at you, and you're shooting its head, or you have to shoot all these pieces off.
It's a Zoni construct.
Yeah, kind of. It's like, yeah, that's you sent me a picture of some other stuff from the level, and you were like, Zonai tech.
Yeah, I mean, I'll save that for our Tears of the Kingdom discussion.
Yeah. Anyway, this reads, it is not known whether Golem is something Andros created or something he discovered in the ancient ruins that dot the surface of Venom. Few archaeological surveys were sent to Venom before Andros took it over as his base, but Corneria University scientists believe that the legendary lost tribe of Corneris did indeed inhabit Venom in the distant past. They also think it possible that Golem is a remnant of the Lost Tribe's technology.
I think it's Golem, because like the Golem.
Yeah. It's spelled like Golem. I don't know. I always say Golem. Golems.
Like, the
Dybbuk's and Golems and all those other
indestructible beast that's there to protect the Jewish people.
Yeah. Ancient texts state that the tribe eventually struck out into space to find a new home, but what became of them, no one knows. Could be okay. This is a more fun little lore to play with later. So, yeah, that's their little bit of lore on Andros's base setup here.
So let's talk about this Golem mech. This is where the Venom level, in my opinion, gets really interesting.
It's a fun little run here.
You approach these like ancient ruins at least they look ancient. They're like carved out of stone,
but they're all monkey based.
Yeah, it's all Andros
based
looking guys.
Yeah,
and okay, Josh, we're both Cincinnati boys. Do you ever ride the Adventure Express at Kings Island?
Long time ago.
You remember the part at the end with the Aztec kind
it's
of
like now you are cursed.
Yeah,
and then you just take this tiny drop and that's
it's so much fun.
Yeah.
But that gives me mad vibes from this Venom level of these guys.
It's similar aesthetically to what I recall.
Yeah. It was originally designed as a Raiders of the Lost Ark roller coaster, and it's since been co-opted into so many other things.
Fun fact, since I've technically been a Cincinnati boy the past 18 years of my life, never been to Kings Island. I only ever went when I didn't live here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You're not much of a roller coaster boy, though.
Not anymore. Yeah. No, I used to be.
Yeah, after I saw so much footage of people just getting like horribly hurt or just like trapped on roller coasters, I just don't have faith in.
Right. We had this discussion on the pod.
That's right.
Point.
Yeah, because I used to be like a roller coaster guy. Like that was like the only way I felt something. So the entire time you're approaching and you're following this robot that seems to be made out of stone. And this is the weird part, though. It's not attacking you. Yeah, you're chasing it. It's running for its life.
Yeah.
I feel like a vicious monster killing this thing, but you have to do it. And while you're doing, you shoot off its arms, its legs, and like you're like blowing off all of its like shielding. And I don't understand why. I mean, it looks really cool. Like, if we want to just talk about like the visual spectacle of like what the game's presenting, but like, why am I killing this thing that's running from me? I just feel like I'm on the wrong side of history right now.
Which go back to our discussion of Fox in Space, and we think that may be in question throughout all of the lore of Star Fox.
Yeah, but the way that this game like really cements the idea that Andros is a villain is he'll start calling in, and long time listener, first time caller.
Yeah.
But Andros will start calling Fox, and he's taunting you. Your foolish efforts, like it's futile. Like only that I control the galaxy. So it's really like he's calling in just to be like, I'm the shit. I'm the man. I'm the megalomaniac, and like this is my world.
He's trying to ice the kicker here.
And so Fox, he like after blowing up this innocent robot that just wanted to live on its home planet, Fox does this like cool like dive into the chasm, and thus begins the final approach to Andros. And so I propose, I think, because a lot of this, as we get through this, like this is the non-canonical fight with Andros. This is not the true ending of Star Fox. That only is accomplished in the difficult, the hard difficulty level. But you're approaching, you're diving, you're flying through this like tunnel, that seems to have no purpose.
It's like
the worst sewage system in the world.
Yeah, if you recall Super Return of the Jedi's final level, it's like if that wasn't dog shit. Have you ever played that?
I don't think I got past tattooing on that one.
It's like just this mode 7 like run through to the core of the Death Star on the Millennium Falcon in first person, and it's nightmarishly difficult.
Okay.
This is way easier, way more fun.
Yes.
And then we approach a giant monkey head in hand.
It's so
Orangutan
dope.
head.
Like Andros he emotes incredibly. The face is just incredible. Like especially for the time. It's just so yeah. You got Andros's giant floating head and 2 hands. And
and just
boy,
about,
you just whooped him like
just
very
about the
quickly.
Easiest fight you're going to encounter if you have upgraded lasers.
Yeah. So the way that the boss fight really goes for the first phase of Andros, because it's pretty much the same across the board, where he's going to try to swat you with his hands, or shoot you with lasers, or smack you, or suck you in and blow you out, and do all sorts of stuff. And it's you shoot his eyeballs, that'll distract him. Shoot his hands, that'll destroy him, and then his head explodes and it's like a robot gremlin looking head, and that dies pretty quickly. It's pretty anticlimactic if you do the easy like level completion. And it's just like you're like, oh, there he is, and he's dead, and now I'm escaping a fire explosion, and there's the end of the level.
Yeah, as we were reviewing my playthrough around the campfire here, I think that golem head or whatever, goblin head is more accurate. It was on the screen for 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's just it's
it did not get a single attack off.
It's just
all you have to do is just keep hitting A and it's done.
I mean, you can say that about the entire game, really. Just keep hitting A. And yeah, so that'll bring us through the easy level. I think we should just kind of like hit the other planets and kind of streamline our approach here. But in terms of doing the medium route,
the next one we have on blah, blah, blah. What is it? It's sector Y or Z.
So we got X, Y, and Z are the 3 sectors.
It is Sector Y is the next one.
Yeah. That is where is that where you can hit the other black hole warp?
So I know of 2. There's Sector X where you have to shoot the gates open.
Okay,
we
that's
already
what
talked
I'm
about
thinking.
that level.
Yeah.
That's the one I was able to do.
Yeah.
And then Media was the other one.
Yeah.
We already talked.
So
This one, the states for it, the pass-fail state is just your body count. It's just you hit 100 and you go on to Aquis.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I didn't realize that just the amount of kills that you get could also determine your path.
Right.
This is where this is a much more complex game than Star Fox for the Super Nintendo, and it took a little it took a lot more time to play through this than it did shocker, the newer game is a bit more intricate than the older game. But everything starts at Corneria, no matter what route you're taking. So with this one, Sector Y, this is if you follow Falco to the difficult boss on Corneria. After flying through all the arches, Falco will lead you through a waterfall to fight the big red spaceship on Corneria instead of the little mecha walker. And okay,
This is
Sector Y is okay. This is where you
you fight a bunch of Gundam battles.
Well,
Sick,
actually-
dude. I love this.
so I wanted to make a clarification. They're actually not Gundam. They are Zaku, which is a series of Gundam in the Gundam universe.
I should have said a Gundam style mech.
Well,
that
but
is fair.
the Zaku are basically like they're the asteroid cutter to the R-Wing. Whereas they're
Right.
the older thing, and then the R-Wing comes out and just blows it out of the water. The Zaku were like the first mobile. What is it?
Mobile suit.
Mobile suit.
Yeah. And, they looked a little bit like the Battlestar Galactica in their earliest form. They look a little bit like the Cylons.
I hate Battlestar Galactica. I never really got into it.
I didn't watch. I watched a little bit of the newer one.
Yeah.
But I'm familiar with like the aesthetic of the original, and the Cylons are like that robot with like they have these like kind of pipe looking things towards their faces. The original like sort of Zaku mobile suits I think looked a little like that, and these ones have like a little bit
primate
shape to them.
But basically they're like green Gundam style, mechas with a shield and a gun, which that is like straight out of that's the what are they? The Zeon forces. I love the idea of Gundam, but watching it has been kind of difficult for me to get into it.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like Gundam Wing blew my mind when it came to America on Toonami.
Yeah.
And it was sort of like the thing that did it for me was like these like 5 guys and their personalities and their really cool Gundams and like this like very space opera story. And then when I went back and tried like older series, they weren't quite the same, or like the original is like there's one Gundam, and I was like, well, that's no fun. So I just couldn't get into it beyond that first series we got in America.
Yeah. With context of like what we have now in terms of like giant mecha entertainment media, the original Gundam is pretty dated and it hasn't aged quite as finely as other series has. Although, I would love for maybe if you've got a recommendation for someone who campers, if you want to give a recommendation on like how someone like us could get started on watching Gundam.
Yeah. How do I get into more Gundam than just the Wing series?
Yeah. Anyway, so on this, on Sector Y, it's a space battle. This is a linear, rails shooting level again.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good in terms of like, it feels like you're really attacking like a space armada kind of.
Yeah, I really like these like you're attacking like a fleet type levels in space. The one thing that frustrates me with this one is how much the camera is forcing in the like y-axis.
Yeah.
That like you're like, no, I'm trying to shoot up here, and it's like, nope, we're taking you down here.
Yeah.
Other than that, very, very enjoyable all around. And then I like the boss battle in this one.
This is where you fight just a pair of, or first you fight a pair of them, and then you fight a larger one of. Is that right? If I'm remembering correctly,
yes.
This level.
Yeah.
First you fight like 2 larger Gundams,
and I don't know if they talk to you because I just kill them too fast. But
yeah, and so this is again like where the majority of the level is on rails, and then once you get to the boss, it's free all range mode. Love that. Love when you get that freedom of movement. Star Fox 64 shines in the all range mode. That is the best part of the gameplay, in my opinion, where you just have complete control. You've got a pretty big little sandbox to play in, and it's really satisfying to successfully navigate and pilot and feel like a real hot shot.
Yeah, and the diversity of the boss fights I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
Like this is another standout one where the challenge is just how darn fast this one target you have moves. And then if you're having trouble, he'll dock every once in a while to like recharge or whatever.
He's real quick.
Yeah.
Cocky little freaks.
Yeah. Another great one-liner that's always been in my brain. Another great boss battle.
It's a real challenge. This boss. I don't know what his name is, but the end mecha fight is it's really cool. It's like what would happen if you put an X-wing against a Gundam. Like this is like that great. Fun like the monster mashup of like of nerd properties.
I can imagine like programmers in front of a whiteboard or maybe a chalkboard in '97, and like that being the first nugget of designing this boss fight. It's like, what if an X-wing fought a Gundam?
It's pretty dope. Would be cool.
It's great.
So yeah, that's a pretty standout level. I really like Sector Y. And I believe if you do this correctly, if everything goes according to plan, then you'll go on to Aquis, which is Josh's favorite level in the entire series.
Well, do we want to continue on in the order of the guide, or go on the hard route on the outside rails of the solar system?
Oh,
I can do either.
No. I want the guy with the book to tell me what to do.
Because it goes. So the book goes like in order of difficulty routes.
Yeah.
So it's going to take you to the fail state.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is less than 100 kills.
Yeah.
Which is our boy Bill on Katina.
Oh, Bill.
And his Cornerian fighters, and I'm trying to see if they are identified as asteroid cutters. Corneria fighters are not enemy aircraft, but many rookies mistake the aircrafts, making for Venom's invaders. They are green.
Slippy even says, like, it's so hard to tell the good guys from the bad guys.
Your R-Wing combat computer can identify Corneria fighters and will not lock on them. So it doesn't give the ship a name, but yeah.
That's okay. The Katina. If we could get that footage up, this is where it starts to get real Independence Day. You've got Bill Bill and his he's got different units. He's got like Husky unit.
I was giddy with the names of his units being different dog breeds.
Yeah, it's very cute. We're both cat boys, but who doesn't love a good dog? Katina brings in the idea of like a mothership that's going to destroy a base, and it being like an all-range mode fight. You've got the base in the center of the map, and it's a huge dogfight. The way you can visually distinguish between enemies and allies is that the allies have like an afterburner. You can see the flare of their afterburner, was the enemies are just these little like darker ships that don't have that propulsion. Yeah, the base is like it's like a pyramid with the top cut off. I don't know what you would describe that as. Is that a prism? Right?
It's Nerve headquarters.
Right. Of course.
Whips of Evangelion all the time. I can find him. Don't worry.
Yeah. So Bill, what kind of dog is Bill? Besides a good
boy.
Oh.
He did attend the Cornerian Flight Academy with I almost called him Star Fox. I'm so sorry.
Don't
Fox
call
McCloud.
me Star Fox.
Fox McCloud. That's how they know each other. That's their relationship.
I like I could imagine Bill, like, you know, like he used to live at the White House, but then he got asked to leave after biting too many Secret Service agents.
Yeah. Yeah, when you he's in doggy heaven with Commander, and what's the other one? All Biden's dogs that.
I thought you meant Bo. Oops.
Oh, well, him too. Yeah. So yeah. This level there, back to the Miyamoto interview.
Yeah.
I tested this, and I don't know if he's misquoted or what, or if there's some quota. Like I'm not going to dig far enough, but there's some state of this level. I assume it's the fail state where the mothership takes out that base. That Bill and his fighters don't follow you in formation after the level.
That's right.
But Miyamoto says in the interview, they won't fly in formation with you at the end if you hit too many of Bill's allies.
Yeah.
Or if you hit, he says, any of them. So I replayed the level, and I hit like 3 or 4 of them, and they still followed me, like information.
That's cool. I didn't notice that. That's a fun idea. Yeah, so this is the level where you're most likely to commit some war crimes, I guess.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Or what's the word? Collateral
friendly
damage.
Fire. It happens.
Yeah. So the mothership, it's literally a flying saucer. This is Independence Day. Like,
it's a Fargate from the makers of Independence Day. Anyone?
Aquis. Come on, man.
What do you think the name of the mothership is?
Zappa.
That's a good guess, but nowhere close. It's called Saucer-er. Not a saucer, Saucer-er.
Oh, like a sorcerer, except a saucer.
Oh, actually, maybe that is the idea.
I don't know. But so the way that this level works is you're like trying to shoot down as many enemy aircraft as you can, and then the mothership appears and it's starting to like hover toward the base that you're defending, and some like little panels come down and you shoot them, and then a core presents itself on the ship. Forgive me if I'm being repetitive. You shoot the stuff that glows until it explodes.
Yeah. And really interesting, tricky design of this level. I didn't confirm this, but it's not in the guidebook. This was me just doing my own research here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think the hatches opening are on a timer. I think they're based on how many enemy units you take down.
Interesting.
It seemed like every 7 or 8 like mobs you take down, the hatches reopen. So if you're not aware of that, or you're just like not very good, you have to kind of strategically place like, where am I going to be in relation to when they come down? Because they do not stay down that long.
That's true. And this is, these all range mode levels really go a lot more smoothly if you utilize the full functionality of the R-Wing, which means doing the somersaults, the U-turns, those really hard, horizontal turns that you can do using the brakes and the boost. The Independence Day reference, I guess, comes like when you think of that movie, you either think about Will Smith punching an alien saying "Welcome to Earth," or you think of the White House getting absolutely destroyed by the coolest like flying saucer attack in cinematic history.
Which unfortunately, in both John and I's playthroughs, I doubt we got the shot of because we're both too good at this game.
Too good. I can't help it. I'm an ace pilot. So yeah, it looks like you got the guys to fly behind you in formation. Like
so if you're watching the YouTube video, everybody's flying in formation behind me. But I think is this is my second run through where I was mindful about not trying to hit them, but I was like, I know I hit 3 or 4 of them because Bill yelled at me.
Dude, it's like impossible not to.
It's really hard not to. Because even I was trying to just do charge shots, and I still accidentally took a few down.
Yeah. Well, to load a charge shot, sometimes you need to like let loose a few laser blasts just to get, because you're hitting A as you do it, and sometimes it's just not a perfect world.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What's next?
Solar.
Okay, we got solar.
So on to solar.
Solar.
Just why not fly into the eye of the sun?
This level. Let's see. The objectives for solar is to defy God and dodge lava. Mm-hmm. There's no real reason for them to be going to the sun of this solar system. It doesn't seem to make sense. I don't see this being like a strategic decision. The entire time they're there. So, okay, Fox and the team, they fly to solar. It's literally just a red star in the middle of their solar system. This is the solar of the system, of the Lilat system. So shouldn't solar be called Lilat? If you're thinking of, you know what I mean?
I don't know. We don't call the sun the Milky Way, or just the Milky. We just call it the sun.
It's funny that we call it the Milky Way, with like milk being associated with mothers and like the birthing, and like we live on Mother Earth, and like, Freud was right about a lot. Solar is pretty dope in a visual perspective because you're flying atop a lava field. Everything's red, everything's burning, and everyone on the team is kind of like, what are we doing here? Like, it's so hot. It's 9,000 degrees. Like, I don't think this was on like the travel itinerary. Like, what's going on? Why are they going there?
I think I'm sorry. Let me review the footy for just 1 second.
Yeah.
And we've got it on screen.
Okay, so General Pepper says, that area's an oven. Don't go burning that R-Wing. Be reasonable, Fox. And Fox is like, fuck you.
So, yeah, I think it's pretty much just kind of like, oops, this is the route we chose.
It's, I don't know. It doesn't seem like a good idea.
It seems more the idea was less story-based and more like, what if there was a mission on the sun, dude?
Yeah. So they go to the sun. The sun is just liquid lava and arcs of fire.
Hell yeah,
it's cool. It's like Star Fox goes to hell.
Yeah.
Which would be an amazing concept. Like that's where the black hole takes you. It's like we have to kill Satan.
Man, I wish I had the time and energy to like upload, like, I don't know, like photos or implement photos of the guide and how it shows the maps.
Oh yeah, that is awesome.
It's really great. It's like it gives you a grid and like a 15-second divisional timer of the run, and it shows you every direction that like these orbs of fire fly up from the surface of the sun and where they happen.
That's some math nerd stuff, man.
It's really great. I mean, it's probably, sort of how they would start to design a level on paper.
Absolutely.
It's very much a on paper prototype of the level. It's cool.
This level bothers me.
It's not great.
It bothers me because again, going back to like what I was saying on Venom, like they are just going to an environment and they're just massacring the wildlife here.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there's no enemy forces here.
Right. There's no like people have been like Andros needs the sun. Like, no, it seems like they're just there. And then like by happenstance, like some of these like, dangerous, inhabitants of the sun are like defending themselves and like attacking Fox's crew, but like the only thing that really attacks Fox in this one is the bioweapon that they find at the end. And I guess that's the justification for why they go to the sun, is that there's a enemy bioweapon.
Do they acknowledge this one as an enemy?
I believe
like
they
as
say
designed by the enemy.
Yeah.
Like other levels have some where they're like, oh, this is a Andros bioweapon.
Yeah,
right?
I think they say they call it a bioweapon.
Well, let me note on that thing about like you're kind of killing indigenous life of the planet or whatever. Is it? Have you ever played Undertale?
No.
Okay, Undertale is really conceptually cool, interesting game. Spoiler alert for anybody who wants to play it. I'm gonna spoil Undertale real quick.
All right, Undertale spoiler coming in.
Okay, so the correct way to play Undertale, it's like a turn-based RPG with a really cool like fighting style. But the correct way to play it is to never kill any enemy.
Yeah.
And that's called like the pacifist route. So you have to play the pacifist route to get the real ending. And it's like you could technically kind of do that here. Like
if you didn't shoot
it's
any
up
of
to
the
you.
enemies.
Like so let's just put this sort of in Star Fox lore. You stamp an invoice to General Pepper at the end.
That's right.
And I think the number goes up based on your score somehow.
Right. Yeah.
So you're sort of making the choice of like, hey, man, the more ammunition we use, the more stuff we kill, the more we could charge General Pepper.
Oh, of course.
Or you can play this level totally defensively and be like, I'm only going to attack wildlife if it's on the tail of Slippy or whatever.
Sure.
So that's up to you if you're gonna commit like atrocities to native life or not.
I'm so glad you brought that up because Josh, you've played the first Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
And that is where this is the second time we're talking about Hideo Kojima in a Star Fox episode. Makes a lot of sense. But Kojima in later Metal Gear Solid games would really incentivize pacifist playthroughs. Because those are stealth games. They're not killing games. The first Metal Gear Solid, you got to kill a lot of people. That's just kind of like gonna happen. There's like so many cutscenes that require you killing people and stuff. But I remember the very first game that introduced that idea of doing like a pacifist run was ironically Doom, a game where it's like that's the point, is killing monsters, killing monsters and solving mazes. But Kojima really refined that idea of like, and especially in Metal Gear Solid 3, this I wouldn't really call this a spoiler for Metal Gear Solid 3, but just a really great design for a boss fight is you're in the River of the Dead. You're in the River Styx, essentially, and every enemy that you've killed in the game will attack you. And if you haven't killed anyone, it finishes almost immediately.
I love some Kojima ass weirdness.
Yes, it's so sick. So, but to clarify, back on Solar, the melting planet sun. there is an enemy bioweapon. That is the fire kaiju that you fight at the end. Peppy says, "This is the enemy's bioweapon."
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, apparently Fox was going there specifically to dismantle, an Andros military installation, not just to kill a bunch of birds, which is what it kind of looks like.
Which, yeah, it just gives them again. It's like, oh, it's good. Another reason to rack up the bill for General Pepper.
Yeah, it's like,
oh, we took out bad guys you didn't even know about.
Yeah, it's like like how police budgets are determined, and in order to get the budget, they buy a bunch of military gear, and hit their budget so that they can ask for more money next year.
I could discuss that at length, but I'll let it go.
I just don't think cops need R-wings. Moving forward, we're going to talk about Macbeth.
Yes, sir.
Welcome
to Macbeth. Gosh, this level.
This is my favorite level in the game, perhaps. It's another tank level.
It's so goofy. I love it.
It's great. What's goofy about it? You say?
I mean, can we talk about this train conductor that you're with throughout the whole level?
This
foghorn, leghorn-ass guy?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
I say, deploy the secret weapon.
Now I say, that dead old boy gonna take my train down. I ain't like that. He gonna hit them switches now? Oh, no. It's just out of control.
It's great. It's great. I love Star
that dude
Fox
was
64.
just wiling out in the voice booth.
Oh, yeah. Here come the little hyenas now.
Yeah, it throws in a little racism. Why not? We'll get to
some more racism when we hear what Falco has to say on Venom. But so in this level in Macbeth, on Macbeth, you're back in the Landmaster, and you're destroying an enemy supply train, which is on its way to an important depot. Mm-hmm. And so this one's great because you're following a trade track. The train will speed ahead a couple of times so that you're not able to do direct damage on it. But pretty much anytime you're next to the train, you can just keep shooting it and keep destroying different segments of it. And at one point, they're going to introduce these switches that you need to shoot. And this is the real challenge of the level, or at least the kind of the busy work that the level presents to you, on top of defending yourself from attacks and defeating enemies and doing damage to the train. You want to shoot these switches that appear, and if you don't do it, actually I don't know what happens if you don't do it.
It's that's the pass fail state is hitting the switches, and it's pretty much the only way to medal this level, because you'll get, I think, a 50 hit bonus from the boss crashing into the weapon supply depot.
Yes.
Which, if you don't mind, I would kind of discuss. Somebody mentioned on my stream, when I was playing this level, they were this is my favorite level ending, and I think I agree. There's a lot of environmental storytelling in the progression of the level of oh my God, we gotta you're trying to catch up to this thing and stop it from crashing or delivering to this weapons factory.
Yeah. You're intercepting a delivery of supplies to the enemy.
And then it's you discover within the environment a way that's we can kill two birds with one stone. Instead of just stopping the train, we can destroy the whole place. And the foghorn leghorn guy freaks out as his train goes barreling into the weapons factory without being able to stop, and it blows up the whole thing. It's great.
Right. But before that happened, so what the switches are essentially are they're track switches.
Yes.
They what's the word? They avert or
change the track.
Yes,
it's
thank you.
if you secure all of these locks. I'm trying to think of a real world analog to this where you'd have it's the nuclear thing. It's we have to turn both keys before it'll guarantee. Oddly placed, but it's a game.
Yep. But so while you're doing this, Foghorn Leghorn will deploy. He goes, I didn't expect to have to use this, and they've got.
This kite attached.
Yeah, it's parasailing, right? like when you're on a boat and then like we were just talking about this. Your family used to go jet skiing all the time.
Yeah.
What is it when you're is it parasailing where
Yeah.
like you're holding on to a parachute getting dragged by a boat. This boss man, speaking of Evangelion, this kind of looks like something out of that. Just like sending all these swords of Longinus at you or staff of Longinus. And he's got these wings that act as like boosters, but
Yeah, it's like a hybrid sort of robot biological thing in its movement. It's called Mech-Beth.
that rocks.
Can I read the Lilat data link for this level real quick?
Yeah, if you know what all the words mean.
They're big. The tragic tale of Macbeth. This is from the player's guide. Years ago, Macbeth was the center of the aerospace industry for the Lilat system. Gifted scientists and engineers flocked to the planet to share knowledge and make staggering sums of money. Orders poured in and a consortium. I don't know all the words. Hold on, let me reread that. Orders poured in, and a consortium of companies worked long hours to meet the demand. While there should have been enough wealth for everyone, a handful of greedy CEOs tried to gather up all the power by betraying the consortium with hostile takeovers and leveraged buyouts. Capitalizing on the confusion and brutal infighting, Andros invaded the planet, enslaved the scientists, and set up weapon assembly lines. That's basically every major world power in planet Earth 2023.
That's way too thoughtful for what this game is.
That's awesome.
So-
Okay.
So, as the fight goes on with Mech-Beth.
Mech-Beth.
Oh my god. Actually, that would be an amazing. Like, if you want to do like some wild like Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Like you just do like
Cyberpunk Shakespeare.
Macbeth, except with kaiju's and stuff.
Yeah.
Man, if I was smarter, I'd have a really funny quote from Macbeth right now. But out, damn spot. There we go.
Double tinker and blast them. I got nothing. I don't know. So yeah, you shoot the switches, you send the train on the separate path, and he freaks out. It's great.
And then he suicides into the depot. So you've probably killed like hundreds of thousands of monkeys here. They were just doing their jobs, man.
Just monkeys toiling away, repairing, weapons. And it's like, they don't want to be working on weapons, but that's the jobs they have on Macbeth.
The jobs they have on Macbeth. And yeah, everyone's so glad that they're dead. Like the Star Fox team, they're just like, yay, they're dead. Like, thank God.
I don't know anything else on Macbeth.
No, not anymore. Not if you wiped out every living thing on Macbeth.
Yeah, no, we took them down. They are wiped. They are gone. All life is dead. The planet will re-terraform over time.
Yeah, let's blast
heal
on to
itself.
the next level.
So the guide goes back to Aquis. It kind of saves Area 6 in the final Venom form
cool.
as their own.
I am ready to talk about Aquis.
So you get on that. I'm gonna poke around here.
We've got Aquis, we've got Zonis, we've got Sector Z, we got Area 6. I think those are the last levels that we have to discuss. Who knew this would be such a in-depth episode about a silly game? But that's how we do here at Camp Video Games. Aquis, it's a submarine level. Josh, I want to hear you complain about Aquis.
Yeah, so Aquis is bad.
Thank you. Okay, I'll go ahead and fill in the rest. Aquis.
You go ahead and fill in for a second. I'm gathering my thoughts here.
Yeah, Aquis is it's the only submarine level in the game, and Slippy has also designed on top of the R-wing and on top of the Landmaster. He's developed the Blue Marine. The Blue Marine. I had some fun playing this level. I love underwater levels. especially on the N64. I love how water stuff looks. I like that the texture. It's all just very much aesthetically pleasing. It rubs that part of my brain the right way.
Yeah. Every human brain is different because it grosses mine out.
Yeah.
There's
Great Fox is like it's a boat right now.
Yeah, it's
like,
buoyed in the water.
So silly. It rules though. What were you saying?
Well, I was gonna get into the controls of the Blue Marine are just it's after you're having so much fun everywhere else, and then you get in this thing and it is like just swimming through molasses.
Yes, it is a very slow moving level.
It's brutal, and then on top of that, it's just like clear that this is where they had the least time and experience. Because obviously there's only one level.
Yeah, that's true.
It feels underdeveloped. It feels gimmicky. It feels unnecessary to me. And it wasn't like fun for me as like the tank is a fun deviation.
Absolutely.
The tank controls are like, they're still a little clumsy, but they're clumsy in an interesting way. This one, it's just slow. And you have infinite bombs.
Yeah,
so,
that's the cool part. The torpedoes not only serve as like the bomb function and as your charge shot, because you don't have a charge shot while you're doing this, but they also are flares because like they'll like illuminate as they go along, kind of like a bright bloom seed. But this level is just really like, they're like, look, we're in Atlantis.
Yeah, there's supposed to be, some kind of previous civilization that was here.
Kill all the fish for some reason. And I think, the hard part about it is this is a level that really requires you to do barrel rolls to avoid getting shot by lasers. And so while you're playing, you're constantly hitting the shoulder button, you're hitting your lasers and your torpedoes like all at the same time while you like controlling with the joystick. It's a very busy level.
Yeah, I played this 2 days ago before recording, and I don't know. I think my arm might still be a little tight here.
Yeah, this just gave you arthritis.
Yeah, Sean had joined watching the stream when I was playing it at this point, and I was literally discussing kind of with you. I was like, I'm not even playing. I'm just smashing all the buttons. I took my left hand off the control stick. At this point.
Yeah. It's cool in the sense that it's got some unique enemies that you won't see anywhere else in the game. You see some lanternfish and some oysters and whatever. But then the interesting boss at the end is kind of cool. Like, what did you do? Do they have the name of that boss? Because I do like it. The bio weapon.
Here we go. Its name is Bacoon. It's bacon with an extra O.
Okay. Like baboon.
I guess. I don't know.
I don't
makes
either.
No sense to me.
A lot of the names in this, like aside from like characters' names, like it's just like what got lost in translation here. But in this one, let's just kind of speed. Aquis kind of sucks, honestly. I was being facetious when I said it was my favorite level.
God damn. Yeah, the boss it's kind of more of the same. Like if you're just smashing all of the fire buttons, you're eventually going to take it down.
It'll happen. Yeah. I think my favorite part is the reveal of the boss. They do a great job. Good. They do a great job of just like using darkness to their advantage.
Yeah, it comes kind of just out of nowhere.
It's great. I have to wonder though, like, okay, Star Fox just went to this planet, like A, because it's on the way to Venom, but B, to destroy the enemy bioweapons. That seems to be their main thing on the way to the final level. We need to like destroy as many enemy resources as we can. What threat does this pose to anything but Aquis?
Again, it's General Pepper's paying for it. Why not?
Yeah,
just destroy some more stuff.
So, and this is it's a somewhat unique boss fight too, in just the sense that like, you shoot the glowing things and then it blows up and dies. No, but it's a giant oyster or a giant clam or something. It's got barnacles that shoot pearls at you. Then if you shoot the pearls, they'll turn to silver.
Yeah, similar to a lot of
Rings.
other boss fights, where a lot of the sort of collateral ammo you can take down is like can recharge you a bit.
Yeah.
This is fun. Like this is sort of inspirational towards like I don't know if I've only played Automata out of the Nier series, Nier Automata. It's a game that combines action RPG with like bullet hell type stuff.
Okay.
And this is a lot like what it feels like. A lot of the enemies will spit these like spherical orbs at you in like these patterns that you have to dodge, similar to the boss in this.
Interesting.
So it seems sort of a in the large pile of influence for that game's battle system. A lot of this game does, but that particularly reminded me of it. Yeah. Anyway, that's Aquis.
That's awkward.
Moving on.
You know, you
That's enough of
you
that.
shoot all the defenses until the big eyeball exposes itself, and you know, in Nintendo games, if you see an eyeball, you're shooting that eyeball
Oh yeah, always.
every time. That's all I gotta say about Aquis. It's it's wet. After Aquis, I believe it's Zonis is the next level we would be hitting up.
That is correct, sir.
And that is the toxic waste area.
I love that there's a whole planet to dump toxic waste
Yes,
into.
this is
It's like the garbage island that we have.
we've talked about the idea of like General Pepper being like maybe not the best.
Yeah.
He's not a hero. If you have a solar system that has a garbage planet, like you're doing it wrong.
over-consuming, yeah.
You're doing it wrong.
And here again,
just kill all the local.
all we're doing is killing native life that has worked so hard to survive this environment.
Yeah.
And we're just blasting it out of the sky the whole time.
Yeah. What I like about Zonis is this introduces us to Kat, who is maybe an old flame of Falco's.
This is one.
Ooh, yeah, let's get to that
It's worth
family
reading
tree.
the relationship tree. It's very hilarious. Let me. Oh no, where is? Okay, here it is. All right. So the link between Falco Lombardi and Kat Monroe in the player's guide is the arrow connecting them says romance question mark. Kat's bio is Kat Monroe has a crush on Falco, but he doesn't even know she's alive. She intends to make certain that he does take notice, and soon.
Okay.
Very good stuff. And that's pretty much how Falco treats her. And like canonically, all you get in the game is like a couple comments of Falco being like, "Kat, you're here?"
And
then, "Kat, where'd you go?" And she comes in and out throughout.
the dialogue that Kat gives is all very a guy tried to write female line, like without
This femme fatale. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, everything is just about her femininity,
Yeah.
or just like, ooh, I could kiss you for that. Like, just
Ooh,
like,
a girl can do this? You don't think a girl
Yeah,
can play
or-
like this?
is that how you're gonna say hi to a girl? It's
Yeah.
just like, it's like, what happened?
Yeah, we were bad at anything that wasn't just dudes blowing stuff up until about 2014 or so. That was the only media that existed until then, is dudes blowing stuff up and treating women like dames. And broads.
What's the name of the scale on like any
Oh, the
property?
Bechdel test?
The Bechdel test,
Everything
thank you.
failed it, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The Star Fox gets a F.
Oh, yeah, big time. Yeah, but I do like design-wise this. I think this level is kind of a lot of fun. The past state or whatever, the hard mode.
Yeah.
Is that you have to take down all these searchlights?
Yes. That's the instead
which
of
is-
switches on the last level are the things you gotta shoot.
Yeah, of like sort of the ways you have to get through the hardest route. This is like one of the better challenges. This is like one of the few times I had a couple just moments where I was like, "Ooh, gotta make it to that one,"
Nice.
you know, like
Anything that gets the blood pumping, man.
yeah. So I like that aspect of this level. And the old salty sea dog boss is also.
Oh my god, my favorite boss. At least like personality wise, my favorite.
Yeah,
boss.
I think he's second to the train conductor for me.
Oh yeah, man, God, this game rips.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's in terms of like what you're seeing on the screen while you're playing. You're above a toxic waste ocean. It's this sickly green and purple hue of like I think this was supposed to take place in East Palestine, Ohio.
No, that's the train level.
Oh god damn! Oh Jesus!
They destroyed a town, and
Things
now,
are fine.
Now they want us to sell our railroad to the same company that did it. Vote no on 22, folks.
Yeah, 3 months ago.
Anyways,
I really hope things are okay.
back to Zonis.
So yeah, the fight on this one is a pirate. You get to fight a pirate in Star Fox. He's got like a tow truck. I feel like it's
It
like
rocks, dude.
It's a pirate ship tow truck.
He's like a pirate version of, I forget the name of the character, but what's his name? The Get Her Done guy. What's
Larry the
Get Her
Cable Guy.
This is like 10 steps to get there. Larry the Cable Guy's character in Cars.
I haven't seen Cars.
He's like the tow truck driver.
Oh, okay.
He's the tow truck car. That's this character, but also throw in that he's a pirate. That's great. Yeah, and he's only damageable by bombs, which makes it another fun change up in the fight.
My advice, if you're playing this level, is this boss fight gives you some chances to like cheese the boss to like max out your bombs. And like if you find an opportunity to like just keep shooting its projectiles at you, I think you get a max of 9 bombs in Star Fox 64. Like make sure you've got that before you destroy the 2 cannons on the side of it. It'll make the rest of the game a little bit easier if you're trying to get those medals.
Yeah, you'll be bossed up.
Yeah, and so yeah, he's the boss is it's like a tow truck pirate ship. It's like a steampunk pirate ship tow truck. And
that's circled the Venn diagram of everything.
And you destroy its like exhaust pipes. So
Which took me a while to remember.
Yeah.
I kept bombing the cannons for a few rounds.
When you destroy its cannons, he'll go underwater to like rebuild the ship basically. And in that point, you can't just do any damage to him. So if you destroy the exhaust pipes, then he can't go under. And then if you destroy the cannons, then it's on to the next phase, which is the last part of the fight. Pretty straightforward. Like after you do some stuff, you're gonna have to destroy his crane, and then it's just all out like just survive. Like because he starts to really like spam you with attacks.
He sort of freaks out, and just starts spamming, and which is if you don't have a hyper laser, probably tricky. Otherwise, it's like just keep your targets centered and you're good in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, there weren't many quotes that I wrote down in my notes, but this one, after you destroy a key component of his ship, he just goes, "Oh shoot!"
Yeah, the expletives of the Nintendo universe of this era are quite cute.
Yeah, for sure.
Like we said way earlier, Falco's "What the heck?"
Yeah,
sticks with me,
and it sticks with us too because this is before we were over inundated with voice acting in our properties, right? Like it was the shows we watched, and then maybe a few games, but this was where like it really had a chance to cement itself in our psyche. Sector Z is the next level.
We have 3 levels left. I thought I could make it without going pee. I'm going to use the little boys' room.
Okay.
Everybody.
I'm going to talk about Sector Z.
Okay.
While you...
why not? Yeah, keep it rolling. I'm going to let for the online viewers, I'm going to let my footage of my failed run play here and my freak out.
Sector Z is... so it's the Sector Z combat zone, and basically Great Fox that's the cool ass like home base ship that Star Fox team keeps all of their R wings on, and I guess they live on the Great Fox as well. They get ambushed in the middle of the Sector Z combat zone, and it starts off with a couple of like fighter spaceships that like approach the ship and then all the R-wings, blast out to meet them. Classic dogfight stuff. And there's another all-range mode level. Love these ones. And you got a nice big space. You get to fly around Great Fox, which I've said before, like, I loved like model airplanes and like especially like Star Wars models of all the spaceships. Like I would love a Great Fox model at some point. It's a very cool shaped ship, and it's nice to have the ability to just like observe it in free range mode, all range mode. You can just take it all in. And it wasn't until Super Smash Brothers that I remember having a different opportunity to like be on the Great Fox. I don't know if in future games whether or not they allowed you to pilot the Great Fox, but that would be incredibly cool. After a while of defending the Great Fox from all of the spaceships, then it's Missile Command. Which is one of my favorite arcade games. Do you ever play Missile Command?
Yeah, I'm back. I played a little bit of Missile Command.
So now we're playing Missile Command in 3D in space. And so basically, you've got a square map here, and it's just about like intercepting the missile, shooting it down before it's able to collide with Great Fox.
Which I bragged in my playthrough when this level started. I believe I was like, "Oh, this is like the easiest level in the game."
Oh, sure.
And I don't think it is this playthrough that's playing on the YouTube if anybody's there. But like the first time when I was bragging about it, I failed.
I did too. Full disclosure.
Which, interestingly enough, part of the reason I was like, because at first I was like, I'm done with this game, because it was like I only had this. I think level was the only one I hadn't played through.
Sure.
But I still was like, I want a completed run. As the last thing I do.
Got to.
But part of the reason I started over was because when I did lose, what happened was I got distracted by like I think it was when the 2 missiles come in.
And then they're asking for backup.
2 of my allies
Yeah.
asked for help. And I didn't want. I was also like trying not to have people go down in case I could get a medal. So I went back for them, and that took too much time away from stopping the missiles.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how I lost. But like, if you're just kind of like not pointed the right way, they are a little hard to like align.
It's really hard to.
Oh, this is it. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So,
it's
boom.
playing on screen if you're in the YouTube version of the podcast.
Double missile attack on the Great Fox. Man, they should be dead. Like,
yeah.
That would just like.
I love it. It just flies away. It's like, oops. Okay, let's lumber on.
So what happens when you fail to do this is it will reroute you to a different course.
Sector, or not sector, that base.
The Bolts
easy
outpost,
route.
defense outpost.
And it's funny, it plays this very subdued version of the mission accomplished music. It's really funny.
Yeah.
I was so mad.
Yeah. Imagine how Slippy feels having to do all these repairs.
Because I forgot to do a save state before.
Yes, that's right. But basically, yeah, if Great Fox gets hit by the missiles, your route gets fucked up and you can't complete the hard difficulty level route anymore. But if you do succeed in destroying the missiles, because after first 1 missile comes, then 2 missiles come, and then I think 3 or 4 missiles come after that. And if you succeed in destroying all of them, then it's on to the Area 6 defense station. This one, the Area 6 level, it starts off with Andros Lackey, like doing like a call in on the other like Andros minions, and it's kind of brutal. Like Star Fox just shoots them out of the sky, like no warning, just like boom. They're like, the guy's just like, everyone check in, and it's like boom. It's like, oh god, right, casualties of war. Like they set up this one little humanizing moment of this guy just trying to check in on his own team, and then just like Star Fox like they're like, yeah, no, we're the good guys.
It's like if you take out that one little thing, you can assume you've just been gunning down drones.
Exactly.
Other
exactly.
than like the bosses, which they establish are like these other like mad generals.
Yes.
This is the first time you're like, oh, there might be innocent other just casualties of war. Just people are like, I don't know, I'm just defending the only thing I've ever known.
Yeah. It's like these stormtroopers have homes to go to.
Yeah.
And
like that man had a wife and children.
probably. And a secret family.
Yeah.
So Area 6 Defense Station.
Otherwise, a very fun, diverse level in terms of like this all-out onslaught approach of the diversity of like things you encounter, because you do a little bit of that like run against a fleet and take down as much as it as you can. There's these like satellite-based things. There's waves of like the drone type enemies. It's like everything is here.
Yes, absolutely. Just a great level. And it's like, this is cool because we get to see basically like, okay, on top of like just murdering these like what should have been anonymous drone soldiers, like they're now like being humanized, but also we're hearing their chatter back and forth of them being like, did we get them? Because this is the last defense before Star Fox gets to Venom. So the weight of the world is on these guys. From the Andros perspective, like they're like, we have to defend the homeland from these invaders,
right? Like my home is there.
Yeah, exactly. Like my children,
I live there.
Yeah.
I don't run the government, but I do live there.
I have a secret family that I need to protect. So yeah, they're like, they broke through the first line, they broke through the second line, and then finally the boss of this level is like, there's no other choice. Like, deploy the secret weapon.
Yeah.
And that is just great.
Yeah. Before the boss, I think it's fun to note, like, this is the highest count you have to get for medals.
Oh, yeah.
You have to hit 300 bogeys.
Woo! And this is where you can also get like aerial assault assistance from Great Fox. Where,
yeah.
Like the Rob 64 hit C right prompt will come up.
It helps take down some of these like star destroyers that you go up against.
They
which
are straight
clearly
up
just straight up, and you shoot. It's the same.
The shield generator.
There's a shield generator right on top in the most vulnerable spot,
Shameful.
like basically where the clit is. Yeah, that's
flick that bean.
Yeah.
Kill.
You have to do that to take them down. No, and my playthrough, this is where I was drunk for a minute. Is towards the end of this level, I tried first person mode for a little bit. It's out of control,
Dude. Props for knowing where the clit is.
Yeah. So like this is the most challenging part of the game, is probably meddling this level, because when you don't have save states, you have to play through all of the other medium or hard route levels to get a shot at doing this, and it's the hardest one to rack up, because the level after this, so long as you can learn the tactics to do it fast enough, the final proper Venom level, you're going to medal the first time, like any time you play it, once you learn the tactics. But this one is like, there's a lot to learn to make sure you get that 300 count. So
This
it's probably the most challenging.
This boss is pretty challenging too. Yeah. Interesting though, because this is introducing. We haven't really seen any other enemies that are able to warp like this one does. Mm-hmm. But this is where some of the idea of like what Andros is really up to could be. Hold on. Speculation trousers. Got to zip them up.
All right, I'll see if there's any Lilat data links on it to help. Yeah, go ahead.
So, Andros. I'm going to speak again on A Fox in Space, where the main motivating factor for Andros in trying to recruit James McCloud was basically, what we saw on the other end of the black hole portals here, and we can get into that after this, I think, because we didn't really talk about the warping levels after this. But basically, Andros, in preparation for dealing with whatever's on the other side of the black holes, is now like actively integrating warp technology into his spacecraft which is just like, it's like, oh, you find out that your enemy has a stick, you need a bigger stick. Oh, you find out your enemy has a sword, you need a bigger sword and a shield now. And like just that kind of thing where it's like in world logic makes sense to me. Where the understanding of the black hole has like, every new technology comes from the military complex. Like, right. Like every everything is just
the gosh darn internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we got that actually from Lord Xenu, I think.
Yeah. And Al Gore.
Yeah. Al Gore is an alien, I think. But really, it's bringing in the idea of like using the weapon of the enemy against the enemy as you perceive them. Okay. One thing that we didn't talk about was the warp coils that Fox flies through in Sector Y.
Yeah.
And
I did not play those, but I did play the warp gate in Sector X.
is that what I'm thinking? The ones where you shoot and it looks like a range top stove.
Yeah, that's Sector X.
Or
yeah,
heat coil.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Yeah, Sector X. After Sector X, let's just get to Venom.
It would have made sense to talk about it before it doesn't matter, because that actually takes you from the easy route straight to this level if you get that warp.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So that is an artificial black hole warp that Venomian scientists have engineered, whereas Fox finds naturally occurring black hole portals in Meteo asteroid field. Right. It seems like it's like a they've found a way to manufacture this natural warp technology. You follow me on that? Like,
yeah. No, this all tracks. We're going pretty deep on a game that has a few lines of dialogue, but I'm totally with you.
Hey man, that's what we do here at Camp Video Games. So
yeah.
Okay.
I am Matthew McConaughey smoking a cigarette in True Detective right now.
So okay, they go through the Sector X is the combat zone, and that's where you fight the robot, right? Is that the same one?
Yeah.
So if you don't go through the coils, you'll fight the robot. But if you go through the coils, you go into light speed, and then you are warped to this like rainbow galaxy filled with these creatures that look like white, like static noise.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Like snowball static from your old CRT.
From the old CRT, yeah. And so you mentioned in the stream that this is what Andros saw.
Yeah.
Like they're just these kind of like, oh man. They remind me of the enemies from Kingdom Hearts.
The Heartless. Yeah.
And at the same time, they're just these weird. It's like, are they biological? Are they machine? Or are these manufactured? Did this happen intelligently, or is this just a naturally occurring life force? It's all completely unclear. But also, on top of these weird like white noise animal things, there's all of these beams.
Yeah, very like, I don't know how to describe it other than like geographically oriented in interesting ways, which in game design terminology, or why they did it as game designers, there's no lore to it. It's just like, this is cool. Let's just goof off,
But this is as close as it gets to gameplay on Venom, where there's these random things that are just like floating all of a sudden, and then they start flipping at you. It's where I think that's what Andros is like trying to almost recreate what he saw on the other side of the portal.
Yeah.
And everything he has is more just like a synthetic approximation of that. And it's just an interesting bit of lore. And I believe that's where, in the game, that's where James McCloud canonically is thought to have disappeared to, is the black hole warp area. After that, let's just talk about Venom and the proper ending of Star Fox. Let's stop talking about Star Fox 64 almost.
Never.
Soon. I mean, I'm never going to stop playing it, but we have to press stop on recording at some point today.
It's only been 2.5 hours.
Hey,
Come on.
Man, it's great. I'm having a great time. I hope you're having a great time, campers. And this is another little opportunity for me to remind you that we would love it if you would subscribe to any of our different platforms that we're on: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube specifically. That's where you can see the full video and all the stuff that we're referencing as we're talking through it. And also we got patreon.com/campvideogames where you can do all the things I've already mentioned about it. Venom proper for the canonical hard mode ending.
Oh shoot! Before we go to that, I apologize. I meant to backtrack this, but we were.
Oh, the notes. You got the notes on the what?
On the Great Fox.
Oh, cool. Okay.
That's what on the section for Area 6. I was seeing if there's anything about the boss or whatever. But I'm just gonna sum it up real quick and then read part of it. So the Great Fox. This is the Nintendo canonical thing. So basically, it explains that it was custom built by James McLeod, and then it gives you like a paragraph of techno babble of all this like, oh, it's a Zerum class cruiser with T&B H9 hyper laser, and all this stuff. And then the last sentence reads, James McLeod took out a low-interest 80-year mortgage to purchase Great Fox, a debt that his son is doing his best to repay.
Why did they include that? Why are they including inherited generational debt?
God. I don't know. Maybe somebody had a lot of student debt that they had just inherited or something, which obviously this long ago probably not.
Or maybe like their dad took on like a third mortgage or something and like then died and they have to pay it off to keep the family farm and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. But student debt does work that way. Like it goes to your estate if like, cause something like this, it's what's the word, equity or whatever. It's a No, it's an asset or whatever. But student debt is just this thing that somebody else owed that if you die, your family has to keep paying it. That they don't get anything out of it. Yeah, I don't know why. That seems like very personal. Why somebody put that in there?
That's very weird. That's a weird detail, and I can't ignore that every time I see the Great Fox now. Yeah. Like that sucks, but it also rules. Oh my god, that was like a slap to the face.
Anyway, Star Wolf.
This is great. You enter Venomian airspace and then you go right to the surface of the planet. Fox says, "Say your prayers, Andros." What do they pray to, do you think? Like the great
that ancient civilization that he's made his decor around.
What I love about this, because this will be your second fight with Star Wolf if you've done a certain route, but if you do the heart route, it's the only time you fight Star Wolf. They're all bandaged up from your last fight.
Actually, remember? Okay, back to A Fox in Space. Hyena? You remember the hyena guy that I was like, I think the thing he owes to Andros are these cybernetic implants.
Yeah.
That's what this is. Part of their upgrade was some sort of like cyberpunk implant.
Yeah, you're right. Leon's got that cyberpunk eye.
Yeah.
But Wolf, he just seems to have like a bandage on his face.
Huh? Well, it's like a neon. He has like a couple neon stripes, which is I don't know if it was part of this cyberpunk aesthetic at the time, but you'll see a lot of that in like Cyberpunk 2077. Like people are just like, oh, you have like implants of like things that you can use all over your body.
Yeah.
It's just you have like this little sheet of metal where it can unsheath. That's what it looks like on Wolf. The rest of them have those beady eyes.
Yeah, Andrew, his name's Andrew. That's so silly.
Yeah.
Andrew, the nephew of Andros, the Nepo baby on Star Wolf. He's got the like pound for pound the same exact eye gear that the hyena has.
Yeah, exactly.
I thank you for catching that. I did not even make that. That's great. Woo! Camp video games.
Yeah, we have fun.
That rules. But so this fight is way more difficult than your first fight with Star Wolf. This is a taste of like playing multiplayer with some people that hate you. Like, it is very difficult. You're doing a great job in this playthrough as I'm watching it.
Oh, my other one was better. I took Wolf down before he could even get his introduction.
Hey man, just take a compliment.
Yeah.
But one of the upgrades they have, I forget in the first fight if you lock onto them, if that'll do damage when you hit them with a charge shot. But in this case,
the guide says it doesn't.
Okay, yeah. In this case, they have. This is where I really noticed the shield that shows up every time you do a charge shot on them, which pretty much negates how most people are used to getting hits in on, like moving enemies.
The big difference in this fight is how quickly they will evade once you've hit them, and then also that they will like if you try to do the somersault or a U-turn to get them off your tail or whatever, like they immediately are gone. Like you can't just, ooh, I did a loop-de-loop and now I shoot you from behind. Like they evade that really quick too.
It's great. It's a great fight. It's a really tough. It's very, very tough, but a fun challenge. Each enemy, like on Star Wolf, if you're having a hard time with that fight, every time you destroy a member of Star Wolf's craft, they'll leave behind a health bonus for you, which is a good one. Yeah. Not just like a normal ass silver ring, but I think it's one of those like pointy silver rings, which I think those give you the same health boost as a gold ring without the ability for it to increase your health if you get 3 of the gold rings. I believe that's how those sharp looking silver rings work. Mm-hmm. But yeah, after you defeat Star Wolf, Fox gives his classic line, "I'll go it alone from here." And he does that maneuver into the chasm again. This is when it starts to get real. You're going to get a lot of, like, Andros is just going to be, like, blowing up your phone as you're going through. Okay, so if you want Junior Camp Counselor Sean's strategy guide to this section of Venom, take left turns every time. As you're going through, it gives you branching paths in the corridor leading to Andros. If you take all lefts, it'll yield a double blaster and a few bombs.
Yes.
Which, if you're like me and you lost a few times to Star Wolf, but you had plenty of extra lives, that means you're starting off this with just the single laser. So getting that double laser is a huge bonus.
Yeah. If you're like me and you don't rely on bombs as much, you're more a hyper laser guy, you go left, right. That's the fastest route through, and you get two laser upgrades.
Nice.
Yeah. That's like instinct for me. I just was instinctively doing it, and then I looked at the map of the player's guide. I was like, oh yeah, okay, I've got that locked in, huh?
and thus begins the true final fight, or at least begins the true final fight with Andros.
Yeah.
Where it's again same as the easy mode in the first phase, except I think he's got a little bit more mobility, and his attacks are a bit more widespread. But he's with his right hand, he shoots Emperor Palpatine electricity at you. With his left hand, he like swats at you. This is okay. So if you take your time to defeat him, he'll try to suck you in, and then you can finally shoot a bomb into his mouth, and that'll actually do something.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Once you've defeated the first phase of Andros, he goes into his true form, which is a brain and some eyeballs that are connected with laser chains. You can do a perfect kill of this boss, of at least of the eyeballs. As soon as you regain control of the ship, you shoot a bomb at the brain, it'll destroy both eyeballs. If you're not able to destroy those 2 eyeballs, it then turns into a kind of a cat and mouse. They're chasing you while you're trying to get shots in at them. But they've got the laser chain that's connecting them to the brain, which is an area of damage that you could run through. Otherwise, they're just going to dog you down. And it's pretty difficult.
Yeah, one of my runs, I blasted them. I've actually never done that immediate bomb blast thing, but I took them down like immediately. I just like got into their route and behind them. And it was like done.
Yeah. This was the first time this last run that I did was when I figured that out, and I was like so pleased with myself.
Yeah, this one we're watching around the campfire right now, I think I might fail because I forgot kind of how to. Not like I knew you had to hit the thing on the bottom for the brain, but I forgot how to make it disappear. So I think I accidentally just fly into it a lot and die.
Yeah, it being the final boss on the hard mode of this game, it's fittingly difficult.
Yeah.
But this is an interesting, like, kind of how do I put it? Like thematically, it's quite interesting that the final boss, who's an orangutan, who's a mad scientist, megalomaniac dictator, and you defeat his face and his hands, and all that's left of is his brain and his eyes. Like, other than that, like, just like thematically, it's kind of weird, right? Like, the only other like brains that I can think of in like Nintendo world is Mother Brain from Metroid. But the idea of this is that you're in like this like closed off, you're in all range mode. The brain is chasing you around. You can get caught in like, you know, we've all got brain tentacles, right?
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's the nervous system. But you know, the opportunities to get some shots in at the brain are kind of hard to come by. It just like hounds you. It follows you at your very
like,
heels.
There's a little bit of like luck of the draw, like that. You know, is the medulla facing you when you U-turn out? You know.
Yeah. It's a hard fight, but if you are able to defeat it, you evade Andross's brain, and what I do is I use the boost near the end of the map, where you then get that forced U-turn.
I do the same thing. Yeah, at some point I was like, man, I'm just like not in alignment, and like that was the idea I had to sort of get distance again from it, and that ended up working for me.
And it's a matter, you know, I mean, just outlive your opponent. That's really the key to a good fight. And upon doing like the final you know, bit of damage to Andross, lining up those brainstem shots, he says, "If I go down, I'm taking you with me." Like, dude, it must rock to be a villain.
Yeah.
Like, just to have that much hate in your heart. Like, it's all this love, so exhausting.
I know. I get along with people too much. I was just talking about this yesterday with somebody. We were talking about you know, people taking like revenge on exes and stuff. I was like, I've never really had any compulsion to do that. Yeah.
Revenge is for,
I'm not a good villain.
Revenge is for the weak-minded.
Yeah.
Because the best revenge is a life well lived. So to get revenge on Fox, Andross tries to self-destruct with him in the corridor, and man, you only get plus 10 hits for defeating Andross.
Yeah,
that's
you don't need him
lame.
at that point, though. If you take out Star Wolf fast enough, that's how you meddle it.
Yeah. So yeah, the explosion happens. Fox is like, you know, it goes all white, and then James McCloud shows up wearing his Joe Biden aviator sunglasses.
No malarkey. Let's get out of here, Fox. Yeah, really great.
And then it turns into just kind of like, you know, you follow James's R-Wing through the burning self-destruct. This is, oh my God, there's so much Ocarina of Time in this. Like, this is Link and Zelda escaping Hyrule Castle after
it's
Ganon.
A very similar run. I like was missing a wing on my first attempt, and it almost feels like intentional in the design that they want you to have been caught a few times by Andross and had her wing pull off, because the controls in that section when you don't have a wing are so much harder.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like so much harder than when you normally have lost one wing. Like, it's just really jostling you. So it feels like that's intentionally supposed to make it harder in some way. But other than that, yeah, you have to like, there's a couple paths where he diverges and you have to boost so that you make sure you see which route he went down to follow him out. Which is like, if my dad was helping me get out, I feel like I'd hope he'd slow down a bit to make sure I was keeping up.
Oh,
you know,
man, we have very
especially if he's a ghost.
We have different
there's no
dads.
physical threat to him.
This is very reminiscent of the foot race with Dompe in Ocarina of Time.
Yeah. Same game, same gimmick.
Yeah, it really is. That's just how they decided to use their technology in the mid 90s, was like these very specific tropes. So throughout the like this chase of you're chasing your dead father as he's leading you to salvation as you ejaculate out of the chasm.
Hell yeah, dude.
And James is giving you all these like motivational quotes. He says, "Don't ever give up, my son.
Trust your instincts."
Yes.
Very Star Wars.
You've become so strong, Fox. These are, and like, you're like, oh my God, Peppy has been saying this to me the entire game. And it's just, yeah. Again, I think like Peppy's insistence on like summoning the memory of James McCloud is like a very dangerous idea in the middle of a dogfight. Just being like, you remember your dad? And
What?
Remember your complex feelings about your father? And like, ah!
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, they after Fox and James both escaped Venom, and it seems that no one else saw James. It was just Fox. It's like the Force ghost, right? Where they're like, you know, they only see Fox, and Fox joins his boys, and the credits roll, and so now we're gonna have some just like, you know, kind of wrapping it up. There's, you know, the R-wings. They're giving the fun little perspectives of the pilots. We get a last little view of them in their ships before they go out onto the Star Fox. I wrote the Star Fox team. They get a New Hope. They have the medal ceremony at the end where everyone gets a medal except Chewbacca for some reason, and the room. It's funny because like all of the Cornerian army troops seem to be dogs. General Pepper's a dog. Bill's a dog, and then you're in a room full of huskies, and General Pepper, he like offers Star Fox like a military job, and Fox cuts him off.
Yeah, it's like we don't play these games.
He's like, yeah, you know, General Pepper's like, we'd be proud to have you on the Cornerian. Fox is like, nope, no, we're freelance, baby. We're Star Fox.
I'm not trying to have a boss. Yeah, I know this game.
He's like, no, I've seen your paycheck stubs. I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then Rob 64 calls in during this sequence, and if you press C right, like to answer it, it goes on to the next segment, and I don't know, it's a fun wrap up for this game. I think thematically,
it's great.
Nothing much really else happens besides like some like you know, we've got this like nice like coronation type music. Everything's very victorious and and then like I wrote it as the Star Fox team gets an anime credit hero run, where they're running in front of this void, and like it's just their silhouettes as they're going through.
I would love if they had played like some like J-pop song that was written just for that credit roll.
Yeah, I mean, my mind immediately goes to the Evangelion theme song. I'm just like,
yeah.
Well,
I think of like a lot of the early shows that like came over, they had like these like 2.5 minute intros and outros of like a vocal song similar to Evangelion, like that, that they skipped for the American audiences because they're like, this doesn't fit the window that we air. This is they don't have the patience for this. I would have loved one of those songs here where we just watch them run for the rest of the credits.
Sure. Star Fox, Star Fox, Star Fox, oh Star Fox. I love when people get their own theme songs, especially if they say the name of the person or the thing in the theme song. Yeah. It's like with the Star Wars themes, like as a kid, I'd always be like, Star Wars, let's go watch Star Wars.
Yeah. There's is it Bill Murray? Somebody did like a spoof like that. And it was an SNL intro or something.
Nice.
He's like, Star Wars, wonderful Star Wars.
Dude, you were right.
Live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Damn. Okay. Well, if I'm going to be a hack, it might as well be a Bill Murray hack.
I don't know if it was him or not. That's my guess.
It sounds like it could be a Steve Martin bit or a Bill Murray bit. Okay. Campers, we've talked a lot about Star Fox 64. Now, there's just one more thing to talk about, and that's the invoice. Yeah. At the very end of the credits.
Love it.
You get a total score of how many lives you've taken. And then General Pepper says, "This is one steep bill. It was worth it."
Yeah. I think he says something different depending on the route you go or how well you do.
Nice.
It's interesting because he's usually I think like he's flustered by it in some of them where he's like, I don't think he says like it's worth it every time. I don't remember.
Interesting.
But yeah.
I wish I wasn't so talented.
Yeah, right. I know. You miss some of the content that way.
So we're gonna see pretty soon how well you did, what your total head count was. But before we see that, I have to say that my run through of the hard mode difficulty, I got 1,081 kills. So that's me patting myself on my somewhat healed back. And I just can't wait to find out if Josh beat me or not.
I don't remember. Yeah, our little preview around the campfire. 10:32 is what the campfire is telling me.
Beat you by 49.
Yeah,
49 dead people.
I think I had a few more bodies on another one, but whatever. It's close.
And then the other thing I like about these types of games, is that you get to put in your initials for a high score, and if you don't, the initials are going to be all the different characters that are in
Very
Star Fox.
cute.
Fox, SL. I think it's like SLP, SL. All the different cuties names. I always just do CVG for camp video games.
Yeah, I think I know I did the same on some of these, but I don't know. Great game, Star Fox 64. God dang, I needed this revisit to recall why I spent so much time with it as a kid. Other than it was the only N64 game I had for a long time.
Sure. For me as a kid, the main appeal of it was trying to get all the medals, and that was the replayability for me.
Right.
Was
I got everything.
Yeah, I had to. It was a compulsion. That's any game that gives you the opportunity to get scored or graded. I am a horrible student, but I'm a really diligent video gamer.
Yeah. In my current age, I try to be anti-completionist. I
Same.
try to be
Same.
did I experience the story? Great, move on.
That's why. That's just why. I'm almost annoyed with Nintendo with their treatment of completionists. Thinking specifically about Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, where there is no feasible reward for it. They're literally just giving you shit, and they're saying "Yep,
you get a gold poop.
You get the poop. That's it. That's your poop."
Yeah,
Star Fox isn't like that. That doesn't have that feeling of getting all the medals.
They're worthwhile unlocks. I miss the days of unlocks being behind skill-based challenges in some regard. It made more sense back then when people had less access to less games. So it's I got to find a way to extract more value out of this one game I have. And now they put cheaper rewards behind it for people, I'll just say neurodivergent fellas and ladies who have the patience to do things like collect 900 Koroks. It's not you're missing a great aspect of the game. Like this, you get ground units for multiplayer, you get expert mode.
That's right, yeah.
You get a couple other little tweaks here and there as unlocks. And so part of the change for that is accessibility, but I think another part of the change is just people have so many games to play. Let's respect their time unless they really want to go after something and spend a lot of time in our world.
That was thoughtfully put together. I like how you put that.
I think about this stuff because I don't have children.
That's right.
I have nothing but time on this planet.
Time is on your side. Campers, speaking of time, we sure have enjoyed ours here talking about Star Fox 64. I covered. I don't know how much more I could possibly talk about Star Fox 64. We covered all the bases. We got our hearts on our sleeves. We killed so many just Venomian pilots who just needed a job, and birds and random other things.
Yeah, a lot of native life down. Yeah,
all dead because of us.
Yeah, you hate to see it. I'm sorry to all those. Now, my bill was only 66,000 American dollars that I sent
not worth
to.
It. It's not worth it. That would not even cover gas.
It's who knows what the economics of this world are.
No wonder Fox is stuck with this horrible debt. He does not know how to write an invoice properly. You gotta you'd be "Oh, I'm sorry, I just killed Satan." It reminds me of in Armageddon when the oil tanker crew is they're giving their list of demands before they go off to destroy the asteroid. They're like, yeah, well, we've got some parking tickets we want to wipe out, and oh yeah, none of us ever want to pay taxes ever again. It's like,
get some demands together, guys.
Get your payday, Fox. Like when you got the military leader of an entire solar system begging for your help, you can add a couple zeros to that invoice.
Yeah, get paid, everybody. That's the most important thing to take away from Star Fox 64. Learn how to get paid.
Bleed those rich bastards dry.
Right. All right.
Campers, thanks for hanging out. We did it. We are officially experts at Star Fox 64, and I hope you enjoyed this, we'll call it brief jaunt in the Lilat system.
Yeah.
And stay with us next time. Josh, you want to talk about what we're watching next? I think we already announced it, but
we've announced it, but we'll say it again. We will be doing just Donkey Kong Country 1 and a single episode of the show. The show's not worth reviewing in full, like we did with Zelda, which debatable whether that was worth doing in full as well, but we did it and it was fun.
It was emotionally fulfilling.
Yeah. So we're gonna, I don't know which we'll do, but or what order we'll do it in, but that's next on the docket.
Let's just watch the last episode of it.
That's probably a good idea. We'll figure it out.
I mean, if I were to just counter, maybe we watch the first and the last episode, and
see if any growth happened.
See if there's any callbacks or
yeah.
Anyway, campers, we've taken enough of your time today. No, wait, you know what, campers, you've taken enough of our time today, and we're grateful. Not to sound like a jerk. I feel like I'm kind of an asshole sometimes, but I love you.
I'm happy if you're happy listening to this. I don't know. Love's a strong word, but we'll see you next time.
If you'd like to write to us, send a message to campvideogames@gmail.com and follow us on Instagram @campvideogames. If you want to become a real happy camper, you can support Camp Video Games on Patreon. For $5 a month, you'll be granted access to even more discussions about movie-based video games, game-based movies, full-length commentaries, playthroughs, and more. Whether you sign up or not, we're glad to have you here at Camp Video Games.